How's the COVID going? You've dodged COVID.
Oh yes, it seems like I've dodged it so far. We'll see how that goes. But yes, I'm now back to normal voice, really, I suppose. So you'll all have to deal with that.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the energy you had last time. To be fair, I mean there was some good energy there.
That was the cold pills energy. It was just
right,
just the pseudo.
The pseudo. Let's go.
Pseudo ephedrine. Have you popped some for tonight?
No. I figured I really needed to kind of wean myself off that at some point. It'd been a bit. It was time to bring myself down slowly.
How about you, Nate? Any illnesses? Still recovering? Still, you good to go?
Yeah, much better. Good to go. Yep.
I heard you dropped a sweet 5-0 grind. Was that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How was that?
Yeah, I was stoked with that, actually. I've been working on that for a long time and managed to score my first 5-0 2 days ago on the little mini ramp.
That's mean.
Nice.
I'm glad you didn't break anything.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
Yeah, I bet.
But it was 3 feet of terrifying height. It's like,
hey, it's still scary.
It feels amazing.
Done well, man. How long have you been practicing that for?
I've been trying to lock that in maybe for a few months now.
Oh, nice.
But only really been trying earnestly for a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's a victory. We take those. We take the wins.
The next thing to get... Yeah, exactly. The next thing on the list is a backside disaster, which my kids absolutely love the name of and always have me on about.
Backside disaster? Is that
trying
a real
to land
move?
A backside disaster.
I could probably do that, I'm sure. If it's what I think it sounds like. Just bailing into a bush or something.
I am a backside disaster, but...
Yeah, definitely after a good curry.
Oh,
hot one.
Man, I tell you what, this actually... Welcome to the Crossplay Cooperative. You can join us here every second Saturday as we join... God, I've got a script here and I'm reading it wrong. You can join us here every second Saturday as we discuss the most recent news in the gaming industry. We'll also chat about what we've been playing, deep dive into some gaming mechanics, and generally spin some gaming yarns. Introducing our hosts, not to be confused with the North Atlantic Treaty Organisation, it's Nato.
Hello. Hi.
And joining us after a week. You don't need to add anything to that. Well, you can if you want. Would you like to add something to that?
No, I'm good.
Just a bit of bio? Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, good. And joining us after a long week of COVID dodging in his household, it's Dave.
Hello.
Yeah, Dave.
Yes, I'm here, present, and partially correct.
Let's crack into
What's
the news.
Happening?
Yeah.
A lot has happened in the last 2 weeks since you joined us. And thanks for everyone who's joined us for that first episode. Where do we begin, though?
Yeah, shout outs to our first listeners.
Yeah, we had a couple in...
like maybe a dozen of you.
Yeah, I
Who
think...
are these people?
Hey, we said 3. We said we will be stoked with 3 listeners. And we got... I actually haven't checked. I think it was... last time I checked, it was like 40. So I'm happy with that.
What?
I'm happy with that, yeah. So that's
Well,
cool. But a couple from 4 from the States and 1 from Germany, so...
Oh, go Germany.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, from Germany, apparently. Yeah.
Get all you guys speak German?
Not me.
You shout out in German.
We might have to brush up.
No. Yeah, exactly. Do you want to kick into the news, Dave?
All right, well, let's kick it off. We've got some brand new breaking news here. Nvidia have been doing some stuff. They have decided that they're going to turn DLSS, their AI upscaling, into an AI filter, or at least something that looks a lot like it. So Nvidia have come out with some fascinating demos of what they're calling some AI-powered breakthroughs in visual fidelity, where essentially they are applying a sort of generative AI filtery tech over the top of polygonal imagery on the fly to create, and here's where I'm going to apply my take to this, to create really a sort of Gen AI piss filter sheen over the top of your game engine.
Piss filter sheen.
Yeah. Now, I do have to look at this from two different directions. On the one hand, when you go and look at what this tech is doing, it's undeniably impressive. Like, there are immediate effects on fidelity where you go, yep, that certainly looks more impressive at a glance. On the other hand, it raises some interesting questions. It tends to create some of the issues that we see with Gen AI across the board, in my opinion, where what you are dealing with is essentially the average of a whole bunch of input imagery, right? You know, you're dealing with a whole massive data set, which kind of gets squished into the average of what the Gen AI thinks this thing should look like. And so you tend to get a bit of weird sameness going on, especially with human faces, and that really comes through in these examples, in my opinion. So you get some real kind of homogenization of characters' faces going on, in some cases, some real kind of uncanny valley effects. However, the effects on environmental lighting are quite something. They're quite interesting to look at. So I'm kind of thinking if they can eventually tune this right, could have some really impressive effects down the line. What do you guys think about the look of it first before we go into some of the other interesting aspects of this?
I think we've just got a real problem with faces. We really focus on faces, right? I think that's where we get real unnerved and kind of a little bit disgusted by AI. At a glance, I thought it looked really good. I was like, this is really cool. But then kind of looking a bit closer, I'm like, it's got, as you say, all the hallmarks of generative AI, the kind of slimy, greasy looking, kind of super saturated lighting, and then the piss filter sheen, as you say. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not. I don't think we're there yet. But this is still fairly. We're a little ways into the AI revolution for video games. We're still going through those teething problems. What do you think, Nathan, about the look of it?
It's interesting that all of the examples that just come out in the GeForce trailer is all facial, or it's all people faces. They're like, they've really put a focus on that, and I'm just watching it back, and like the first time I watched it through, I was like, oh yeah, I see, like, kind of looks cool. Some moments, like when they do Leon's face, are quite surprising. Leon from RE Requiem, and all of a sudden he's got amazing chin stubble, and you're like, where did that come from? Like, was that always there? I don't know whether it's gonna help, like, those details pop more. But then I'm just looking at the Starfield, one of the Starfield characters that was displayed in a red jacket, and the first watch through I was like, oh yeah, that looks okay. It looks, like a visual upgrade. But then next time watching it back and really looking at the face, and it's gone from, before the DLSS passes over it, it's gone from like, oh yeah, this is obviously like a video game character face. I feel kind of comfortable, looking at it. And then after the pass has gone over it, it brings it much closer to, a real person's face. But those, the problems with it that maybe don't quite match up maybe with how the lips are moving, or the facial muscles are moving. Like, it's that whole uncanny valley thing, right? Like, the closer you get to being to a real person, the greater the differences stand out. And so I kind of get a bit of a sick feeling in my stomach looking at it.
Yeah, and I mean,
I've
that's
got
a really,
some-
really interesting
yeah.
point there too, Nate, is that with this being an overlay on the existing geometry, things get quite weird when you're dealing with stuff like facial animation, because obviously, especially in something like Starfield, you're not dealing with super dynamic facial animation. It's fairly static. It's fairly old school Bethesda, right? So when you have that quite static, stiff facial animation with a really realistic human face kind of slapped over the top of it like a skin mask, it gets really weird.
Yeah, we haven't seen the moving sort of like line up with dialogue yet, have we? So that could be quite, yeah. And also, the more I look at them, looking at right now, the woman with the orange jacket, they've even beautified her. Like they've got a bit more eyeliner, and it's like everything's deeper, and like her like lipstick's a bit redder. Like they've just clearly, yeah, it's just so obviously AI. At a glance, I was like, yeah, that's quite good. They haven't. It still looks like her, and it does look like her, but it's just, yeah, so AI.
Yeah, and to me, one of the interesting ones was the Harry Potter examples that they showed from the Hogwarts Legacy sort of segments, and some of those images in particular really show this kind of shift from the lighting in the scene to really being accentuated to the point where it kind of looks like a studio shoot, where you've got this kind of exaggerated edge lighting and kind of fill lighting, and it really looks like these characters have been shot kind of in a studio for like a fashion ad or something, which just gives a bit of an odd vibe again. And again, undeniably impressive to look at technically, because it's like, well, yes, this is good lighting, but it's also kind of not necessarily entirely appropriate for what you're looking at. So it's sort of technically better, but subjectively also kind of worse at the same time.
Yeah, totally agree there. And I wonder how it looks moving as well. Like we've kind of seen static images. Like, how does that lighting?
Oh no, they have
sort
put
of
out some.
artifacts?
They have put out some footage as well.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, you can watch some, some
okay.
moving
I
videos
will
of
have
it,
to check
and
some of
it
that out.
looks good. You know, obviously it all hangs together. They're dealing with like, you know, really, really solid consistency between frames, all that kind of stuff. So that's definitely not so much of a worry. It really is more just what it is doing to the image itself, which is a bit of a mixed bag in terms of both impressive results and weirdness. And it is really interesting, like you said, that they decided to show almost exclusively human beings for this, which is both, you know, both gives you a good idea of like, okay, this is some impressive stuff it can do, but also was always going to get the worst or most extreme reaction. Because if you just showed some of these scenery shots and some of the video segments I saw from Digital Foundry, particularly on Starfield, showed some really impressive environmental stuff without any close-up characters. And that looks great. You know, it's sort of undeniable, especially in some of the outdoor areas, that it's doing some real work on the kind of flat, hard lighting that's in that game, and it's really bring it up and looks fantastic. And that stuff is a great example of what this could do, I think. And really, the hang-ups are kind of more on what it's doing to character models at the moment, or how it's affecting the existing character models. But a lot of the background stuff is really interesting.
Yeah, it does look great. It does look great, hey? Like I have to say. I'm just sort of going through these as we speak. But then you can't just do the backgrounds and not do the faces. Like the tech is sort of, or can you? I don't know. Can you kind of isolate what it does to character models?
They are sort of saying that by the time they get these tools ready to ship, they reckon they're going to be able to give developers quite a lot of control over how it works and where it's applied and how it's applied. And so again,
Excellent.
They're saying that, and then at the same time, the examples they're showing are really heavy-handed. And it's like, which is true. And why would you show us the heavy-handed version if that's the case? I don't know.
Yeah. Like the very first one which is Grace, right, from Resident Evil.
Yes.
It's kind of like, yeah, she's like a very different looking character after DLSS.
Yeah, I mean, she's become sort of generic blonde woman.
Just like hot model. Yeah. Yeah, like super
so
like
it's taking the creative, like, how much is it sort of taking away, or it's not even the right word, off the original designer's idea? It's kind of like just like throwing a layer of sticky putty on top of it and shaping it into something completely different.
Yeah, it is like a layer of makeup over the top, and it is a bit questionable how much control the artists are going to have over that, which is where it gets a bit weird. I think if they can tune that right so that it's doing less to kind of overwrite the underlying geometry work and underlying lighting work, it feels like there probably is a way to tune it so that you can get a net positive result. However, where things get a little bit interesting, you can get a net positive result, but at what kind of processing cost? Because looking at those videos that they showed, there's a caveat there that at the moment, and again, this is early stage tech, it's not ready for release yet, but at the moment, those things are running on not one RTX 5090, in other words, Nvidia's top of the range card, but two RTX 5090s in parallel, with one of those cards being used exclusively to power the DLSS 5 component of the renders. So that is, in our weird South Pacific money here, about $12,000 worth of graphics hardware alone to run that stuff. In American money, that's still something like $8,000 worth of kit. That is a lot of juice to run this. Now, again, they have said that they already have some versions of this running in their labs on single GPUs, although it sounds like those single GPUs are still real big, beefy boys. So by the time they get this to market, they're going to have it running solidly on things that, hopefully aren't 5090s, because at the end of the day, it's a pretty small percentage of the user base that actually have those, because who can afford a $6,000 GPU?
Extremely small percentage. Like, that is very niche. Like, that's like 1%, not even 1% of people would be running that sort of rig. That is insane. Even like content creators don't necessarily have something that beefy. Yeah. Where was the caveat? Is it just in the sort of like fine print sort of
Oh no, they talked about it, I believe, in the presentation, and
right, okay,
basically they're saying like, hey, yeah, we're using a whole lot of processing power to run this at the moment. But yeah, so to quote here, they were saying DLSS 5 provides game developers with detailed controls for intensity, color grading, and masking, so artists can determine where and how enhancements are applied to maintain each game's unique aesthetic. Integration is seamless, using the same NVIDIA Streamline framework used by existing DLSS and NVIDIA Reflex technologies. So again, it's kind of like, okay, it sounds like this can be selectively applied to make some really interesting lighting improvements primarily. And it also seems like the way they've decided to show it off is kind of at full throttle, which you can kind of understand, but it's also a bit off-putting. So it's a move for sure.
Mm.
Do you think it's only really got a place for video games that are, going for full-on realism as much as possible?
I mean, it certainly looks like that's where it's going to make kind of the most dramatic difference, right? Because it's sort of hard to imagine it having a particularly interesting impact on games that rely really heavily on a sort of strong stylized look, right? Like if you were dealing with, say, one of these sort of cel-shaded games that there are a lot of in the indie space or something like this, isn't really going to do much to one of those other than kind of over-polish them, most likely, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely for a certain sort of space. Like, yeah, I think it's your Capcom's probably no, because I was going to say first party Sony, but that they use their own proprietary engines. I don't know if I think it's PSSR PlayStation
Yes,
game?
yes.
Maybe-
Old
yeah, I guess so.
Pizza 2 is
Yeah.
about to be released,
Yeah.
which is not doing anything like this.
No, not at all. It's just catching up with like the old like original DLSS. It's just something that
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of one of the interesting things about what's happening in the space at the moment, particularly with DLSS, is that the current batch of consoles, both the PS5 and the Xbox Series, were both released kind of immediately before the big advances in graphic tech that we've now had for the last couple of years on the sort of PC front, particularly ray tracing and AI upscaling. So both of those things were kind of just on the cusp of reaching market when those consoles were already coming out. And so that's why we see like the PS5 Pro has a little bit of capability in this respect, but they're all kind of way behind in terms of what the hardware is able to do with essentially
nowadays.
Yeah, both that upscaling and lighting tech. And so yeah, that will potentially be kind of an interesting step forward if we reach whatever the next generation of consoles might look like. But at the moment, it's a pretty interesting step forward in the PC space.
Alrighty, watch that space. Bloomberg reports that PlayStation is pulling back from its first-party releases on the PC with the announcement of Ghost of Yotai and Saris only remaining on the PS5. What are your thoughts on that, guys? I feel it's kind of strange to leave that money on the table.
Yeah,
It's a bold move, but I think definitely playing into their strengths. It's kind of them saying, we know, we make some of the best games, and so we're gonna, make you stay in our ecosystem if you want to play them.
Yeah, I think they probably did have that realization. Well, it sounds like they really had that realization that they were potentially losing future hardware customers, right, or future people kind of locked into that walled garden. Because if you're just going, well, I could just play all these major releases on a PC instead, and
later on.
At the moment, most of those major releases that they've brought across are also capable of looking better on a PC because, again, there's this kind of gulf in tech at the moment. Even on relatively low-end PC rigs, you can still kind of have something that performs better and looks better than it does on its native home console. And then you also just have this sense of reduced value, I guess, where you're like, well, do I need to be in there, or can I just do this thing on the other stuff I already own instead of buying a new PlayStation? So kind of get where they're coming from there, as disappointing as it is in other respects. And also apparently they really didn't have particularly spectacular results with sales, which is interesting. They weren't finding big numbers on Steam, which is not necessarily what I would have expected.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because the PC player base, I'd say they're pretty good at holding out, right, and not caving and buying a console. There'd be a large portion of the PC player base that just shudder at the thought of purchasing a console. And so with the prospect of a Sony exclusive game, finally coming to PC, you would have thought they would jump at the opportunity to purchase. But you're saying that isn't the case.
Yeah, no, apparently most of their big releases just haven't done huge numbers. And actually, I'm going to feed into one of our other little news items here because I think there's potentially an interesting relationship here, which is that there's been a recent report from Newzoo, which was looking at revenue across various consoles, PC spaces, etc. And one of the salient points there is that premium games in the PC market only represent about 29% of total revenue.
Interesting.
Yeah, and So you potentially have where on the console side you've got this revenue kind of depending on big blockbuster hits. On PC, it's a very different market where you've got a lot more smaller titles that are making a lot more of the money. Like the $30 to $50 US price tier is the fastest growing segment at the moment, with titles under $30 being really popular on the PC. So those kind of more budget categories just seem to be much stronger. And so it's possible that when you're carrying across these big premium titles like your God of Wars and things like that, there is just a much kind of weaker demand there. But you still, and I suspect a lot of it probably also comes down to Sony weighing up their sort of cost benefit analysis here, right? Where they're like, I can't imagine that any of these games weren't making back their port budget, right? Like, I would imagine that even pretty soft sales of these, it's not super expensive for them to kind of port these across. And so you'd imagine that they'd be definitely making their money back and probably making a fairly tidy profit as well. But they are looking at that up against that alternative side of, hey, are we losing future hardware buyers and therefore losing people from our ecosystem? And sure, people might be buying our games on PC, but then we're having to give Valve a 30% cut of our sales. How much do we like doing that versus having more people buy our hardware and lock themselves into our ecosystem, build their digital libraries with us some more? So I think they're probably doing some really hard thing about that. I don't think they've lost any money on any of these releases. I think they're probably just going, we are not making enough to justify the potential future harm that this does.
Yeah, they'll be looking at the exposure that they do when they will have when they release these games. It's exactly what I said. It's projected sales of the PlayStation 6, and it also sorry.
You go.
I was gonna say it also plays into like how I feel about where we are in the industry at the moment. The kind of change from the AAA space into the smaller indie space. A lot of the games I've been playing recently are not big games, except for Spider-Man 2. But the ones I've really been enjoying are kind of like smaller games, cheaper games that they've been on the PlayStation Plus Deluxe offering. And across the board, I think we are moving towards using our time more wisely with gaming and not sinking everything into playing a Call of Duty or a Fortnite.
Yeah, that we might be seeing a little bit of a move away from some of those forever games, at least in some respects. And I mean, I've got another number here from that same Newsy report where they mention that, again, on PC, engagement outside the top 20 titles, so, your absolute biggest of the big boys, increased from 33% in 2022 to 42% in 2025. So almost half of what people are
huge.
playing is from outside of those big games. Now, obviously, across the board, really, you've got absolute monsters, the likes of Roblox and things like that, which, just continue to be a massive component of what some people are doing. And interestingly, there's been some stats coming out on that as well, which suggests that the people playing the likes of Roblox and Fortnite and things like that tend not to go elsewhere as much either. They're sort of in that ecosystem and that's just their thing. And that to them kind of provides them with enough new experiences that they don't feel the need to go elsewhere necessarily.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so they sort of become
I can see
locked
that.
into that platform itself.
Yeah, it does, they do offer a lot of wide range of experiences, and some of the Roblox experiences are actually surprisingly well developed, look great. For example, I've seen a couple of bus simulator games on there lately.
Huh.
And then we fired up a demo. It was actually over the Next Fest. Don't know if it was part of it, but it was called Busbound, and so it was a bus simulator game, and it absolutely chonked on the resources on my laptop. Struggled to run.
Oh, wow.
It was gorgeous and a great simulator when we got it running. But then you compare it to something somebody has developed in Roblox, which still looks great, has got so much simulated going on, like passengers and routes and traffic and everything. Like, amazing what people can do in those in that Roblox ecosystem. So I could totally see why some people just don't explore out of it, or could get kind of quite happy just staying in the Roblox world or the Minecraft world or the Fortnite world. Or
Yeah. I wonder how long, though. I wonder how long, like, what we've seen. How long's Fortnite been out for? 10 years? Decade? Must be a decade. Over a decade. Yeah, it must be well over a decade, actually. 2012, 13, I think. Yeah. Well, how many of those kids have gone from playing those sorts of games and sort of moved into other areas?
2017, July 2017, it very first released in early access mode. So it's getting pretty long in the teeth. And of course, if we look at the likes of Minecraft, that goes back to 2011, and that is still going hard.
Mm-hmm.
Minecraft is almost old enough to drink.
They're all pillar games. That sort of like can shape an entire just game experience for someone. That's all they play.
For a good portion of their life.
Whereas I'm
growing up.
Whereas I'm very much an opportunity cost, right? Like there's ways of gaming these days. Everything is an opportunity cost. If I play this game, then I won't be able to play this other game, or it's at the opportunity cost of playing something else. So I kind of dabble a lot more, but I don't think I'm a typical gamer in that respect. I just like to play everything. I think most people kind of play their 2 games or 3 games that they like to play, and that's kind of it, you know.
Such a nonconformist, Len.
What was that?
You're such a nonconformist.
Oh, mate, no, I play Call of Duty, bro. There's nothing.
Not a phase, man.
Yeah, it's not a phase. Oh man, yeah. No, I just love all the games there. There's not enough time to play them all, unfortunately. You know,
it's a problem.
That's right. Yeah. Especially with the rate of the absolute rate of bangers that have been coming out.
Man, it has been a good year so far, hasn't it? There have been some absolute tip-top products coming out.
Yeah, we we'll talk about this a bit later, but the Fantasy Critic, like I'm looking at these games.
It's going so hard.
I think the lowest pick has been a 70, probably one of mine, 74. Even those are like reasonable games, but everything else has been above 80% on
no negatives yet. Everything's in the green.
No one's lost points. Yeah. Even those I got like 4 points for, but a couple of 90. It's been a 90. It's just bang. And I won't be able to play all these games. I would like to play some of them. Even Crimson Desert, I don't think I'll get to that for a wee while. I'll get to that eventually.
Hasn't released yet.
Day one it?
Not day. I was thinking about
calendar.
day one. Yeah, it's in the calendar. I'll wait until they've sort of passion. Yeah.
Do you think it'll be a buggy mess when it drops?
I just think I've heard a few things about it. I've heard that there's some issues with the inventory system or lack thereof. Like there's no loot box at your base.
Inventory?
Like, are you kidding me?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
That could make things interesting.
I'm
intrigued.
I'm
and the menus.
I've got to say.
The menus within menus within menus. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that. Is it quite?
It's like some of the game mechanics are like buried within menus, and there was like some sort of spirit investigation mechanic, and to do it you have to like go deep into your menu, equip like a super goofy helmet, put the helmet on. Sorry, you got to move the helmet into your inventory or something. Then you've got to go back into your inventory, equip the helmet, then bring up a radial menu, select the helmet, then bring up another radial menu that's buried within another radial menu to then use the helmet. And then it's like all these steps to use a stupid helmet.
I've got to say, that does sound like the most MMO developer thing I can think of.
Yeah, that's a very MMO. Yeah.
So yeah, there might be a few weird former MMO developer oddities in there. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of opportunity cost, that leads us into this next story a little bit, because I am a semi-reformed Helldivers and Helldivers 2 sicko.
Let's go.
And I hear some weird stuff has been going on with the Helldivers 2 community. Len, what have they been up to?
I don't know. What have they been up to?
Oh,
I'm out the loop with the Helldivers 2 community. Oh, you're talking about the...
I'm talking about them sending death threats.
Yeah, okay. So the article from...
classic community
Lewis
behavior,
Parker.
eh?
Yeah, sorry, I see this. Lewis Parker of Kotaku reports. So I don't understand what happened. There's a fan-run charity challenge, and then they end up being doxing. The devs are being doxed. Is that what happened?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if anybody really understands what we know here.
I tried to read about it, but I was like, what's happening?
It sounds like there was a player-run charity challenge that was initiated where they encouraged the developers to complete missions in the game at the highest difficulty with a bunch of kind of challenges attached. And when each time they did that, they would arrange for money to be donated to charities. Sounds like a really nice idea, right? You know, and there was this kind of background joke to it where early on in the proceedings, there was a lot of whining in the community about the developers not playing their own game on hard enough difficulty settings and not tuning it appropriately for that. And, you know, so there's this whole like, oh, well, they only play on easy. They don't know what our problems are.
Oh my God.
And so it seems like that this challenge somehow got interpreted as some kind of insult to the developers. And so then some kind of super militant subset of the audience went after the people who set up the charity challenge in some kind of white knight defense of the developers somehow, started doxing people and sending death threats. The developers had to step in and basically go, whoa, guys, chill out. Please stop. This is crazy.
wow.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those insane online community things where it's like, how do you go from a charity challenge in a fun multiplayer game that's cooperative even, you know, we're not even talking about a competitive game here, to suddenly doxing and death threats? Like, how do we get there? What? What is the internet? I don't know.
It's just people, It's just the anonymity, you know? Just, yeah. Who hurt them so much that they felt this was an appropriate thing to do? You know, I don't understand. Why do you care so much? Like, I would love to know kind of what is going through someone's head who feels it's appropriate to dox a dev or send a death threat to anyone. There was a similar thing that happened in the Magic the Gathering. A little side quest here. They changed
5 minutes, Len.
Yeah, thanks, mate. And go. They changed a bunch of rules. They banned a bunch of cards for Commander in Magic the Gathering, which I play a lot of. And like, there's like a rules committee who kind of decides that, and they're not part of Wizards of the Coast. They've been since folded into Wizards of the Coast now. The rules committee, that is, and it was crazy. There was the Mana Crypt was one of these cards, and people were just, because I guess it devalued their card being a $400 card down to like a $60 card and like overnight. But it's like, bro, it's cardboard. You should not be investing. It's not an investment. But yeah, they were like, and the one of the women who they were like sending death threats and being really horrible to is a really lovely person, and was the one person who was saying, no, we probably shouldn't ban these cards. But she still like got death threats and stuff. It was like, people just get real crazy about things they're passionate about, and they need to just step back and maybe just be into a few other things, you know, just spread your seed among your interests, like it's just a video game or a card game or whatever it is, rugby, like whatever it is, like it's not that important,
Yes, putting your emotions into perspective a little bit might be a good idea. Yeah.
Food
And
for
also,
thought, listeners.
it's probably not a good idea to turn your hobby into an investing racket.
No, yeah. Yes, that's a terrible idea. Or your personality, I think, as well. Like, I think people can get just, like, if anything threatens the identity of, well, you know, of whatever they're into, they get really kind of caught up in it. It's not good.
Yeah, your favorite card game doesn't need to be an MLM.
No, no, exactly. Right. Speaking of being reasonable, Nintendo has filed a lawsuit against the US government seeking refunds for tariffs it paid under trade measures introduced in 2025. On the 20th of February this year, the US Supreme Court ruled these tariffs were imposed illegally. The company argues that the tariffs hurt its business, even delaying Switch 2 pre-orders and forcing price adjustments, and is asking the Court of International Trade to refund those payments with interest. Do you think that's going to go through? How much did they sue them for? Is it just the tariffs, or was there a number for that?
I believe it is just the tariffs. I haven't seen a number for it. I think overall the total takes from the tariffs that has been ruled as legal was something like US $200 billion. Obviously, Nintendo's stake in that would be relatively small, but a relatively small portion of $200 billion is still quite a lot of money.
It's not a small amount, yeah. Yeah. Are they going to be able to? Do you think Nintendo sues just because they can, and that's just their lawyers just getting paid? Do you think they'll actually be successful there?
I mean, there's successful and successful here, right? Like, on the one hand, legally, they should have absolutely no problem because it's already been ruled in the highest court in the US that these tariffs were imposed illegally. Yeah. Like, they've 100% got a legal leg to stand on here because that's already proven. Whether they will actually ever get the money is an entirely different matter.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, especially when dealing with the government.
Has there ever been a case of something similar happening before? Where
it's a bit like class action lawsuits where, like, a bunch of consumers have managed to get money from like, I can't think of an example specific. I think Sony.
Oh, there was like Fortnite, Epic versus, was it Apple?
Apple, yeah.
There was a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, they weren't allowed to release on the Apple store, whatever it's called.
Right. I don't think there's been like a company versus government one though. Has there? No. There's government
versus video game company with all the loot box.
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
Controversies and it's been plenty of that. But I can't think of any other example the other way around.
Yeah, especially this sort of situation where it's essentially like, hey, you owe us a refund because you did something illegal and collected a whole bunch of money on that basis. Like, yeah, I don't know if something of an equivalent scale has kind of happened previously, and I think it was acknowledged even when that ruling was made that trying to deal with returning any or all of this money was going to be a complete mess. So, who knows really what's going to happen there.
Can we also ask for the US government to be sued for the misuse of pretty much many pop culture references that just should not be being used in their political regime?
They've had a whole bunch of drastic misuse of IP recently. Now, interestingly enough, nobody has tried to sue them on that. I mean, there have been some incredibly sort of non-committal statements from the companies involved. I mean, in the case of Nintendo, they kind of said, "Oh, this wasn't really authorized by us." In the case of Microsoft, when they used Master Chief and a bunch of Halo assets and things, Microsoft said nothing at all, which is kind of about what you'd expect.
It's wild, hey?
But yeah, I mean that's a line that those companies have to tread, really, I guess, isn't it? Because they could have their ability to do business in that country damaged significantly if they choose to stand up and defend their IP. On the other hand, you'd sort of hope they'd do something given how willing to sue everyone else they are. But
especially if they've managed to hit many different companies with one X post. There was Microsoft, I saw there was Dragon Ball Z in there was Yu-Gi-Oh, there was Breaking Bad references, there was
it was pretty all over the place.
All over the place, yeah. If all of those businesses got together and just kicked back against that, saying, "Can you just not do that anymore?
Yeah, please stop."
I don't know. It's so icky. Like it's just.
Yeah.
Yes, Icky summed it up pretty well on that one.
Yeah.
And speaking of people getting real mad.
Yeah.
Jeff Kaplan's mad. What's going on?
No.
Jeff Kaplan was on Lex Fridman's
Jeff.
podcast last week. Yeah, but last week was about a 5-hour podcast, and he talked. I didn't actually listen to it. I just listened to a few bits and pieces. But he sort of talked about working at the company. One of the key takeaways was that he left after a conversation with the CFO, and the CFO sort of gave him some crazy targets and basically say, if you did not meet these targets, we're going to fire thousands of people, and it's your fault, buddy, which is pretty insane. Yeah, he was not pleased. And he's been there. He'd been there for like 20-something years, right? He was.
Yeah.
He was actually the vice president of Blizzard at the time. But yeah, that's.
Jeez, he was right up there, was he? I didn't
realize. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And it's a fascinating little bit of insight about how much interference there is from that side of the business, right? When you've essentially got like someone that high up in the hierarchy still getting told, yeah, you gotta make this extra money and get rid of some people, or else. That is something.
Yeah, or else.
It sounds like he's been coming out and getting mad in general. Actually,
there's been a few other. There's something else, right?
He's also been promoting his new Western survival game, The Legend of California.
Okay.
Which seems like an interesting sort of concept. But while promoting that, while streaming the game on Twitch, he got into a bit of a rant about people having strong opinions on games they don't want to play and denigrating them. His words were, "Shut the fuck up, no one cares."
That's what I read that on. I saw that today. Yeah, that's crack up, man. I guess that's kind of I get it.
Yeah. There's a lot of people upset about things that are completely tangential to their lives. But yeah, as he says, we don't need to hear that you weren't into it or that you're not, never going to be into it. Basically, it's like fair enough.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I can't help but feel really sad for the guy. Like if that's what he was having to deal with during those years when Overwatch was an absolute phenomenon.
Yeah, because they started the league, they wanted to turn it into a real professional thing.
Yeah. And he was like, he was like the figurehead, right, for Overwatch at the time, because he was. But he just presented himself as like a really approachable, like, like gamer guy who was all about like helping the game grow and communicating what the team was doing. And he just come across as a really nice guy. And so to hear that he was dealing with all this crap at the same time, like all of that pressure.
That's sad to see. Yeah, sad to hear.
Borderline blackmail.
Yeah,
essentially.
The old classic headbutting between people who want to make cool stuff versus people who want to make
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
And I feel that's going to be the downfall of kind of the AAA space, except for like your really big players, like your Grand Theft Autos and your like I guess your Sony first parties, and even there, even the Sony first parties are struggling with like direction and trying to chase after that sort of live service money. So even they're not sort of like free from having the financial side of the business like interfere with the creative side, which is unfortunate. Couple of closures. Let's get into an article from Rebecca Valentine on IGN. EA has laid off a number of employees from all of its Battlefield studios, which is DICE, Criterion, Ripple Effect, and Motive. And this is weird because it comes after like the most successful Battlefield launch and release. It was actually the best-selling game in the US for 2025. So yeah, wow. if having the best-selling game beating COD, if that's not enough to keep a team together, like what is?
Which it's never done, right?
It's never been Call of Duty. No, until last year. Yeah. So, yeah.
If that's not good enough, then like what is?
What is?
Yeah. How do you keep your job?
Yeah. One thing I've kind of heard on a few podcasts is is it just part of that dev cycle where they've kind of like launched the product and they kind of let go a lot of contractors. I didn't actually get a number for how many people were laid off. This is just part of the dev cycle. I'm not too privy to that.
I mean, it's almost a little bit like something like the construction industry, right? Like it is kind of project based and boom and bust. So there are these kind of weird cycles of ramping up to make a thing and then the thing's done. And you would hope that with enough good planning and forward looking at things, you'd be able to go, okay, from there we're transitioning these people we have on board that we know are good at making this stuff into these new things that we've already got lined up. You know, boom, here we go. The railroad's already laid out and we're just continuing on the tracks. But that often doesn't seem to be how it goes.
No, yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. Another studio that was shut down was the Nagoshi studio, founded by Yakuza / Like a Dragon creator, Toshiro Nagoshi. It hasn't been shut down. It's facing shutdown, right?
Yes, they're still,
I think
still around.
It's like a NetEase, yeah, because it looks like NetEase has pulled funding for their debut game, Gang of Dragon, and it looks like they'll need another 44 million or 7 billion yen to finish it. So unless they find some investors, it could be shut down, which is really sad because I love that series. I think Yakuza is one of the coolest video game series out there.
Yeah, and this seems to be part of a general pulling back by NetEase from a whole lot of their outside investments. It's not just the studio. Yeah. There were kind of a whole bunch of, especially, I guess, auteurs or big names from some of the big companies that left, started up their own studios and got funding from NetEase or formed studios that were actually part of NetEase. And even the ones that were kind of internal studios for NetEase, it seems like they've gone, we're kind of out. Like, if you want to publish this thing, do it yourself, I guess, because we're not really interested anymore. Yeah, bit of a change of track, and yeah, sounds like it is going to be a real hard road for some of these studios, like Nagoshi's. It's pretty rough.
And some nicer news. I read an article from Tech Radar saying that the 2019 live service game, The Division 2, reached its highest concurrent users with 27,000. Surely it had higher than 27,000. Maybe there's maybe there's 127,000. Maybe I wrote that wrong in the doc. But yeah, so basically it sort of had its highest concurrent users since 2019, which is quite impressive. Like it's like 7 years ago. I hear there's going to be another extraction shooter mode called Survivors. We were talking about extraction shooters last week. You're a big fan. I was talking to Matt about it over the weekend. So you're a big fan of Survivors. Or is this a new mode?
Looking forward to it.
This is a reboot of an old mode.
Yeah. It's survival. So it's in the first division there was a mode called Survival, which was sort of one of the earliest extraction shooters. It was released, probably before PUBG. Is PUBG extraction? I don't know if I'd consider that an extraction shooter. Kind of pre, I guess, before Fortnite was huge, before the big battle royale.
Battle royales, those are battle royales,
then so survival is kind of like a battle royale with extraction shooter, extraction stuff going on in it, and so brutally hard, huge learning curve, really steep learning curve, because you're pretty much you get dropped into the map with no weapons, no equipment, that your main characters have back in the main game. So you start off and you have to loot and find equipment, gear up. Meanwhile, you are having to fight off infection because you get infected somehow. I think you land on a rusty pipe or something.
Oh, Jesus.
Start.
Oh, damn.
So random. So you have to find meds and keep yourself medicated. And at the same time, there's a raging blizzard in Manhattan, and you're having to run between sources of heat. So you're trying to gear up, stave off infection, dying from infection, and avoid freezing to death. Meanwhile, being shot at by many different enemies, and the difficulty just quickly scales up. And then you're finally met at the extraction point by hunters, which were absolutely terrifying.
Hunters. I remember the hunters.
It was first released. Yeah, dude. That was their first appearance in the Division franchise. Right. Absolutely, terrifying enemies to battle, and so now, it was a much loved game mode, and it was, back then. I'm not sure what year it would have been when that came out, but it was sort of cutting edge kind of gameplay. There was nothing else really like it, and they didn't really take it as far as they should have. And when extraction shooters started to pop off, they should have really gone back and either revamped it or re-released it, or in the least released a game mode like it in Division 2 years ago.
They should have, for sure.
Nate, are you saying Ubisoft missed an opportunity? That's unheard of.
Ubisoft.
Well, the weirdest thing, though, is with all of this Ubisoft imploding business that's going on, what's really weird to see is and really exciting for Division fans is they're really pulling back into the stuff that they have already developed, and that works well. And so the Division 2 is an incredible game full of incredible systems, all sorts of systems and things to do. It's very well developed, and there's some technical marvels in there, I'm sure. Even how all the open world activities work, and amazing stuff. And so I think they've realized that it is amazing, and it's worth keeping around, and maybe pulling back their focus from new releases, and maybe just putting a bit more funding into the Division 2.
Yeah, they've already got something there with some worth. Yeah. And to put those numbers in context too, that 27,000 figure is correct. That is Steam concurrents only, so obviously that's not counting all the other platforms. But just to put that in context, that 27K, if we compare what Battlefield 6 is doing at the moment, which is again one of 2025's biggest releases, this is still a big, huge game. Its Steam concurrents at the moment are peaking around between 50 and 60,000. So the fact that the Division 2 is still doing nearly half that is pretty impressive.
7 years later, that's impressive. That is actually quite impressive. Yeah.
To give you the date on the original Survival, mode, it was 2016. So it was a year before the Fortnite early release, which we mentioned earlier.
Oh, right. Yeah.
2017.
Yeah. Right.
So they really were onto something back then. It's taken this long for them to, do 2.0.
Do a proper mode, yeah. And the Dark Zone was one of the most thrilling sort of like game experiences for like in a shooter I've had. Just being in that area, that kind of like that was extraction as well. You had to extract, It was freaking insane. It was super cool. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, and it sounds like they're doing a Division 3, so they are working. Massive Studios are working on the Division 3. God knows when that'll come out. Hopefully it comes out at some stage. Yeah. I think the article...
Do you know where it's set?
No, I don't actually know. Because Washington was the last one. They were working on that free-to-play one, which was going to be... Where was that going to be? Like Florida or something? I don't know. Well, somewhere.
Was that Heartland?
Was that also Washington? Was that Washington? Heartland. Yeah, Heartland.
I think it was somewhere inland from... Yeah, Washington? Because Washington is inland, isn't it, from the East Coast?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think it might have been south somewhere. Like, is Philly down there? Yeah,
that's all like East Coast. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it might have been to Philadelphia or somewhere around there. But and the new survival, which is called Survivors, is going to be set in Washington, but it's going to be set in winter once again. So there'll be snow. So imagine all the Division 2 maps, but snow covered and blizzards, and it's going to be amazing. Hopefully, I just hope that they bring to it, all of the new extraction systems and mechanics,
for sure.
and but also do something new too, like bring something new to the whole formula, because they've got amazing maps to work with, right?
Yeah.
Like incredible, and a great engine,
beautifully detailed
to run it off.
And it's still done by Massive, so it's all still the same. It might be published by Ubisoft, but it is Massive Studios still working on these games. So I mean, at least the kind of core group is still there. It's not being shipped off to somewhere else. So that's promising. Hopefully they release that game one day. So let's talk about Xbox. What is the next box, Dave? What the hell is next box? What is it? What else? We were talking about
questions,
it last week. Sure. Yeah.
I don't know what an Xbox is anymore. There's nowhere to tell.
Well, the thing is, Nate, I don't know if Microsoft knows what an Xbox is anymore either.
Is it like an outdoor pizza oven? That's my question.
I mean, that sounds delicious.
At one point it was, right?
Yeah, it does sound delicious. Yeah. But would it work? It would be subscription based.
Well, anyway,
sure about if I like that.
Apparently your pizza oven isn't an Xbox anymore because they have gone and scrubbed their internet history from any of that marketing campaign. That never happened, guys. This is not an Xbox. However, we don't really know what is an Xbox, so that's a little bit of an issue still.
What actually is an Xbox?
That's right.
Yes, well, they have confirmed that codename Helix is the new hardware project, and that it will play PC games. So it's a PC? It sounds like a PC.
Wow. Is it a Windows PC? Or is it going to just be able to play... Is it going to play Steam games? Is my question. Because if it's going to play Steam games, then I might get one.
Yeah, well, see, this is where it gets weird, right? Like, this is from Microsoft, the company who makes Windows. Presumably, it's a Windows PC.
Yeah, right, which will play Steam.
Now, it does sound like they are also making a big deal about it playing Xbox games. So presumably that means some kind of backwards compatibility setup, which they have historically been pretty good at, to be fair. Like, they've had a good run with their backwards compatibility approaches, generally speaking, with, pretty wide swaths of the library being, still available and able to run on newer systems and things. So presumably some kind of physical disk drive for this thing is going to be a bit of a must, whether that's an add-on or integrated. I'd imagine probably an add-on. But also, and this is where it gets a bit weird, if this thing is just a PC and you can play your Steam games on it, how does that feed back into Microsoft's whole strategy? Because if you can just buy the hardware and then go elsewhere for your software, that seems like kind of the total opposite of what Microsoft would really want, which is to be your number one services company where you're in their ecosystem and you're subscribing to their things and using Copilot and doing all their various software as a service things. If you're buying their hardware as a one-off and then never using their services again other than it running Windows, how does that fit in with their strategy? You guys got any thoughts on that?
First thought is that it doesn't. It just doesn't. Unless they have some other service, whether they're thinking of tying in Game Pass into it somehow, or I mean, a thought earlier when we were talking about DLSS is might we one day as well look at DLSS as a service, as a streaming service,
like a paid one.
Whether we're gonna see Microsoft doing some kind of AI servicey stuff.
Yeah.
It's part of Project Helix. Yeah, could you imagine that?
Is it potentially a just wanting to just go the opposite direction of the previous management? So you've got, Sharma coming in going, I've spent a bit of time in Home Depot.
Playing Chrono Trigger?
Home Depot, played Chrono Trigger.
It's questionable.
On the board for Home Depot. I believe in hardware, because clearly she believes in hardware, right? So is this just, is this just, I don't know. I don't know how this, it seems to be like just a 180 pivot, right?
Well, usually consoles, right? The hardware that your consoles actually consist of usually comes in at a lower price point than if you were to go and, put something together of equivalent processing power.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. They're normally subsidized, right? Yeah. So that you can get people in the door and into your ecosystem and then get them to buy your software. And that's like the opposite of what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if Microsoft come along and go, here's a subsidized Helix, we're just going to call it that. And then you're like, oh, yeah, sweet, thanks, Microsoft. And then you just install Steam and start.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're playing Steam. You're playing Microsoft. Because it's
turn it into your cheap Linux box, right?
That's
even better.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And then on the other hand, if it is a Windows PC, does that mean that we are about to get some kind of Xbox backwards compatibility for Windows?
Like Windows XP or?
No, I mean, like, will any Windows PC be able to run Xbox games now? Because essentially, I mean, that's kind of what that sort of sounds like what they're doing, right? It's like if this is a Windows PC that can play your old Xbox games, that sort of implies that any Windows PC can play your old Xbox games. Presumably, you just need an optical drive that's capable of reading the discs, and away you go. Your PC is now an Xbox. In which case, why does the Xbox exist? Why would you not just buy a PC? It's the same thing.
If they released Project Helix that could play my Ninja Gaiden Xbox 360 disc, I might consider purchasing it.
Yeah, same actually. Yeah. I want to play Death Row from the Xbox One. That's what I want to play. niche pick.
Death Row, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
was it like the Wu-Tang game?
Death Row was like a sport, like it was like combat sport. It was like real sweet, but it was like, just imagine you've got a disc and you can sort of throw it to score a point, but you can just smash each other in between. I think they're all convicts. Death Row. Yeah. I think it's called Death Row. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
You might be able to play that on your Windows PC pretty soon, maybe.
on my Helix. Yeah, I'm very curious. And what's the time frame? Are they going to try and beat out the PlayStation 6? Because there's rumors that the PlayStation 6 isn't going to get released until 2028, 2029.
Here's where it gets a bit nutty, because apparently they are aiming to ship in 2027. That is
no fucking
quite
way.
soon. That seems too
fucking
soon,
way.
honestly.
Yeah, I think like
Is that
maybe
why they've
late
bought up
2027?
all of this? Is that why they've bought all this RAM up for AI? They're actually just going to put it in the new
actually
Xboxes.
It's actually just they're cornering the market by buying up all the RAM. PlayStation can't compete on price anymore.
Yeah. Like jokes, it wasn't for AI.
It's all in the
new
Xbox.
Xboxes.
everything's an Xbox. Everything's an Xbox.
I mean that is a potential big sticking point, right? Is that at the moment making something like this thing is gonna be expensive. You know, like would you be buying an Xbox for like $2,000?
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's just everything's a drum flashbacks.
Everything's a drum.
Everything's an Xbox. Everything's a drum.
It's like the Xbox to smash an Xbox through a wall sort of situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. 2027 is like, it's a long way away, but also it's not very far away at all for a whole new kind of console generation there.
No, it's not. No.
I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like. We'll wait and see, I guess. Not very long.
But one game you'll be able to play on your Xbox Helix is Slay the Spire 2, hopefully, maybe, possibly.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, sounds like everyone is, that's for sure. And I mean, this kind of goes back to that whole thing we were talking about with smaller games outperforming a lot of things. Boy, howdy, Slay the Spire 2 is selling 3 million copies sold in its first week. This thing is doing okay. And I mean, this is off the back of things like Hollow Knight Silksong as well, you know, literally breaking Steam when it came out. And breaking, I think it might have temporarily broken the PlayStation storefront as well, if I remember correctly.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, like these games are going
the Xbox
hard.
storefront was broken.
I mean, it might be a bit broken anyway.
Yeah.
Just generically. Yeah.
But
awesome.
yeah, that's big numbers. Yeah. And again, this is, you know, mostly one dude developing this. You know, these are passion projects by very small numbers of people, and they are going absolutely gangbusters. So they reckon a week after release, 25 million runs have already been completed. So everybody's having a few cracks at it already as well, and enjoying themselves by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty fast. I'm going to definitely give that a go at some stage.
I can't wait to try co-op out. I'm so
There's a co-op?
to see that.
I didn't know that.
Co-op mode. Yeah, you play
Awesome.
co-op.
From what I heard, it
sounds
almost like it's sort of somewhere between an expansion for the first one and a new game. Like, it sounds like there's a lot of the same base DNA, you know, a lot of the same game in there in some respects, but with the additions of things like
Makes
the
sense.
co-op mode and stuff. Sounds like it gives it some really interesting new ways to play it.
It just goes to show, right? Like that, the graphics look very similar, but there's obviously a lot more to it, a lot more new stuff, new gameplay, new mechanics, co-op mode. Yeah, enough to make people go crazy about it.
Yeah, and again, for context, that is the number one seller on Steam. So that is above Bungie's Marathon. That is above Resident Evil 9. That is right up on top. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, amazing.
Fantastic.
I'd love to know the numbers, you know, the development costs between, you know, Slay the Spire versus Marathon.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of
the
relative
profit margins.
Yeah, the profit margins have to be on completely different scales, right?
Oh, it's
yeah.
Shite, yes. Yeah. To sell that many copies, with a fraction of the development cost and time. Dynamite time, but cost anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good to see because it, been one of the godfathers of that whole genre, that it can come back and still strike so hard.
Yeah, and I mean, that seems to have been a real big thing for a lot of these indies, again, is that, like, when the first one does well, then the second one absolutely smashes it. You know, your Hades 2, your Hollow Knight, your Silk Song, your, this.
Very true, yeah.
Yeah, it's a real repeated pattern where it's like, and, I expect that if old Concerned Ape ever releases his Haunted Chocolatier game after Stardew Valley, that's probably going to go absolutely insane as well.
Yeah. Vampire Survivors is the other one.
Oh, yes, so true. Yeah, Vampire Crawlers looks like it's probably set
to
do some big numbers. Yeah,
that's a really good point. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. Don't need DLSS for those games. Just give me something that's got a great loop. That's what we're about. Now, do you want to talk about Asha Sharma and her sharing her gamer cred?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, in other Xbox news, Asha Sharma was nice enough to share her gamer handle with the world, and people were quick to notice that it had only been her account had only been created in January 2026, and she had been quickly putting in hours into games such as Halo, Minecraft. There's some others in there as well. Oh, some interesting ones as well. Like, she'd got most of the achievements in games like the Short Hike, which is quite sweet to see. That's a little favourite of mine. Fallout 76, and also a Forza Horizon fan, apparently. Mm. Oh, and Len, you'll like this one.
At least she's playing the games.
She's apparently 100%ed Firewatch as well.
Oh, I do like that. I do like that. I love me a Firewatch. Yeah, big fan.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It definitely feels like a really, really solid spread of, if you were to play a selection of games to represent the Microsoft brand stable, plus show that we respect indie developers. Yep, that seems like it.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Yep. We've got the big Microsoft flagships. Well, we're oddly missing COD though. It's interesting. Yeah, you point that out. COD is not in there
because Call of Duty has a massive skill flaw, right? Like,
I think Guerrillas.
You set them off. You set them off. Why did you do this?
Yeah, Call of Duty is so good. I haven't even played this year's Call of Duty. I feel like I'm going to withdrawal symptoms.
I mean,
I'm playing it. I don't want Xbox to fail. I want them to kind of to keep going and succeed and do the thing, because I don't like the idea of just being a sort of 3-race horse or 2-race console horse with Nintendo and Sony.
Yeah, I mean, competition in this space is really key, right? Like, we've seen this over and over again.
Yes,
the massive consolidation that's going on across the board, across all sorts of industries at the moment, is very clearly demonstrably awful for the consumer and everything else as well. And so it's like, the more healthy competitors we can have here, the better. And I mean, Nintendo's kind of just doing their own thing, doing weird Nintendo stuff as they always do.
Selling.
PlayStation's just continuing to do their PlayStation thing. And Steam has its own kind of weird monopoly in the PC space. And so, it seems important that we still have as many players in here as possible, kind of keeping things a bit more balanced.
Yeah, and challenging that AAA space. The kind of big bangers with Xbox. They've got Fable coming out this year. I want that to be an absolute banger. I want the next Bethesda game to be an absolute banger. So on and so forth. Speaking of bangers, what have you guys been playing?
Well, there's been some fun stuff happening recently, isn't there? And Len, I see you've been playing a few things that aren't COD. Do you want to tell us what you've been up to?
Actually, all I'm playing is COD. Those these 4 games are a lie.
Lying again.
Yeah, it's just been, I've just been on Warzone.
To sort of bulk out your gamer cred.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like old Asha Sharma.
I just post my KD. Just I finished Spider-Man 2. I got the platinum. Is what I said last week. It is just a very polished AAA experience. All the highs are very high, and it's just trimmed. I feel it's trimmed all the fat. Like I platinumed it, and I finished the game right, and I was like, I think I should platinum this. And I was like, how long is this going to take? I looked at the trophy list, and I was like, just 2 or 3 hours more from when I finished the actual story. I had the platinum, so I was like, it felt very good. Real like flow state inducing combat as well. Like you can do everything you could think of as a Spider-Man. So very, very good.
Anything particularly challenging in that final push to platinum?
No, there wasn't anything super challenging. Not like I remember. Not like Exposition 33. There was a couple of real tough ones there. Yeah, for that platinum. But no, it was pretty straightforward. I think the last thing I did was visit Aunt May's grave. Massive spoiler. I might cut that spoiler out actually, because they happened to the first game. Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. I also played Darkest Dungeon 2 on the I got PlayStation Plus Deluxe. In New Zealand it's called Deluxe. I think it's called Extra. No, there's another name for it in the States. A lot of value in that, by the way. I got it on special. It's like 160 New Zealand for the year. And so I've got a year of just going through the entire back catalogue. I've easily got my money's worth already. Spider-Man 2, and actually all of these games were on PlayStation Deluxe. Darkest Dungeon 2, super sweaty dungeon crawler roguelite. You kind of do keep a fair amount of progression between runs, kind of like Hades. You can kind of upgrade your sort of characters and the amount of items you can pick up and that sort of thing. I just did the one run, and after that I was like, I've kind of seen what I need to see. I'm sure it gets better. I know you can unlock way more characters and stuff, but I just wanted to have a little taster of that. I might come back to it. It's still on my PlayStation. I do highly recommend that one. I don't think it's as accessible as Slay the Spire 2 or Slay the Spire, but it's a great pick.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've got some mates who put hundreds of hours into Darkest Dungeon 1. It does seem like one of those roguelites that can really get its hooks into people. I'm not sure if 2 was quite as well received. Like, I think people still really liked it, but it felt like there was something about 1 that really kind of nabbed people. But yeah, I mean, likewise, I tend to bounce off a lot of roguelites after a relatively small number of runs as well. There's something about that progression that doesn't sort of hook me the same way it does something.
Yeah, I think once I've done a few successful runs, I'm like, that's
See what you need to see.
I feel it. See what I see. The second run got quite a bit harder, and I got maybe halfway through the second run because you'd like do a run and then there's like another kind of same thing, but it's like another evolution of the story in the run, and I was like, that's fine. Have you played the Darkest Dungeon now?
Yeah. Only a few runs through. Yeah. I didn't stick around for long. Whereas Slay the Spire, I had to uninstall from all devices because I just couldn't stop playing it. So.
Yes, awesome. That's so good. My next game is Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. It is it's a Life is Strange spiritual successor, I guess. It's Don't Nod, the studio Don't Nod. It's their latest game. I think it's one of their latest games. Love these games. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure for me. I'm not the target demographic for Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. It's about these 4 women. Well, they're actually like teenage girls, and it kind of goes between 1995 and 2022. Definitely more related to the adult versions of these women. But it's a real vibes pick for me. I have a weird nostalgia for the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if you guys get this. It's called an anemoia. Have you heard of that term?
No, this new one on me.
Yeah, so like it's a nostalgia for somewhere you've never been before. And whenever I see a movie set or a piece of media set in like the Pacific Northwest, I'm always drawn to it. Like I just have to play it, or I need to play Pacific Drive at some stage. Life is Strange Part 2, they spend a bit of time in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know what is it about it, but yeah.
Days Gone
Yeah,
was
I
set
love
up
that.
there as well.
Yeah, Days Gone, yeah. The Goonies, I think it's maybe just watching like movies like The Goonies and stuff when I was a kid. And it's like, it's specifically the ocean though. It's specifically when there's a beach and there's like the ocean and or water and like the pine and stuff. This wasn't actually set in the Pacific Northwest. Sorry, it was actually set in Lake Michigan, like in a fictional town on Lake Michigan, but it had a similar sort of vibe.
Do you know what else is set in the Pacific Northwest?
Pacific Drive?
No.
What?
Is it Alan? No, it's based off. Alan Wake is based off Pacific Northwest.
Oh, it is
but
too.
I don't think it is. Or is it set there? I don't know. I'll need to double check.
Yeah, it's kind of like the cabin. That's kind of more the like cabin kind of.
Yeah, it's got the
yeah,
same vibes, right?
It does. It's kind of have that vibe. Yeah. But it's like quite horror-y. Really enjoyed this game. Great characterization of these girls and they're sort of going through their sort of teenage issues. Not really much more to say about it. Finished it, really enjoyed it. Definitely recommend if you're into that sort of game. I guess it's one of those ones that it's if you're not into Life is Strange or that kind of like walking sim sort of game, it's probably not going to grab you if you want to shoot, which I usually like shooting things. But this game is not going to change your mind, I don't think.
How did you find the pacing of the story, Len? Like one of the, I guess, things I heard brought up by people kind of on release was that some people were finding the way it was sort of meted out a little bit frustrating at times, or sort of maybe slightly unsatisfying getting to the conclusion. How did that kind of read for you?
I definitely see they could definitely, even though it wasn't a long game, they drew out the kind of the kind of releasing of information about what's going on. There's this box that they have. These girls have this box that they're kind of trying to figure out what happened, and it's kind of pretty obvious fairly early on what it's going to be. But like, they didn't need to be so sparse with the pacing and the information. It was kind of more the interactions between the girls that kind of hooked me, I think. Yeah, I definitely see that frustration. In terms of the whether it's satisfying or not, I guess it depends on how you finish the game. There's a little post cred about kind of leading on to another game as games do. I don't know if they will do that. But there was I can imagine, because I went through after finishing it to see kind of what kind of configurations for endings there would be, and I can see if you got certain endings, you'd be like, that would have kind of sucked, to be honest. The ending that I got was really cool because you could like as you play as one of the girls and you can kind of romance the other ones, in the way that I'd sort of gone about it affected some of the other girls and their responses when they were adults. So there's one thing that one of the girls said to me as an adult that was like, oh wow, that's actually because of the way I played it, was pretty it was pretty heavy hearing some of the stuff that these girls can say. But if you didn't have the same progression, you wouldn't experience that, you wouldn't have had that. So I guess it depends on your playthrough, I suppose. And these sorts of games I never play them all once. I'm always one and done. The biggest thing I had to do for this one was just refrain from, because I have no problem like just reading a guide, because I was like, I'm going to play this game once. I just want to get the good ending. I was real controversial. Most people just want to just experience it. But I'm like, well, I'm never going to play this again. Opportunity cost and all that. So for this game, I didn't do the kind of trying to look for like sort of which endings. I didn't only wait until the very end till I looked at the endings. So that was a bit different for me.
Does the pacing, like, do you feel like you were affected by the slow pacing, or do you quite enjoy sort of marinating marinating in the Pacific Northwest vibes.
I would look at. So for me, I would look at every single thing you can look at and sort of like spin it around and like read all the text and stuff. And I just took my time, so I wasn't too fussed about it. I mean, I just come off the back of like Spider-Man 2, where you're just flying about New York at like breakneck speed. So for me, having something where I'm just sort of, just seeing these teenage girls having angst against their parents and sisters, it was like, oh, this is kind of a refreshing change of pace, to be honest. Yeah, no, so it was good for the particular way I played the game. It was fine. But yes, as I say, I can see how someone would get kind of annoyed with certain decisions in terms of pacing, especially the kind of payoff for the pacing as well. It's not necessarily as satisfying as some of the other of these sorts of games that I've played. But my last game that I played, and I'm absolutely obsessed with this game, is Unicorn Overlord. It is by Vanillaware. They did like Dragon's Crown back in the day. They're like well known for really beautiful 2D pixel art and just 2D art. This is like a JRPG, like SJRPG. It's like a strategic RPG. You have little units of soldiers, and you send them through the battlefield, and they fight kind of in a JRPG style. It uses kind of a gambit system like in Final Fantasy 12, where it's sort of like they auto attack, but you can kind of base all the conditions at which abilities they use as opposed to picking the abilities. And you can skip combat as well because you do fight a lot. But it's just got a real cozy kind of familiar feel. It's like it reminds me of a whole lot of different games, particularly two of my favorite games of all time, which is Suikoden and Fire Emblem Three Houses. So for me, it's just like an automatic. I didn't actually realize this game was what it was. I thought it was more like a crunchy, slow kind of tacticsy tactics game, but it's not really like that at all. It's kind of more almost real time. Kind of like Baldur's Gate, the old Baldur's Gate games where you can pause time and move characters to where you want to, groups we want to go. So that kind of like, so there is a real time element. Love it. I've just, every sort of bit of spare time I've had, I've been playing it. So I already put like 20 hours into the bloody thing.
Are you playing on Switch?
No, I'm playing PS5. It's on PS5. Yeah. It's on there. It's another PlayStation Pro.
It looks really interesting.
Yeah.
Because
it's so good.
Images look kind of like it's a fighting, like a 2D fighting game. I don't know, but then some images look like more top-down tactics based.
So there's like a overworld map. There's like a world map that you kind of go through, and that is just that's your battle. That's literally your battlefield. So that's the kind of tacticsy part. You can kind of position your characters and set just like in Command & Conquer, set waypoints from where you want your units to sort of move. And when they kind of bump into another enemy unit, then you'll go into combat, and your characters in each unit will fight their characters. So we'll go into like kind of like in Fire Emblem, how when you engage another unit, it'll zoom in and sort of have almost that 2D sort of Final Fantasy style combat system or combat sort of look. But the art is so pretty, like it's really, really, really high fidelity. Even on like a massive TV, even on like a 65-inch TV, it still looks really crisp. It doesn't look very pixely at all. It's like almost like what would Flash animation? No, not really. I don't know.
Who's the guy on the like really cool looking horse? There's like a guy with the horse. He's got awesome armor. Looks kind of skeletal.
Armor, yeah. That's everyone. It's like everyone is like that. Like, that's just like what it looks like. Yeah, really beautiful character art and stuff. They all got like crazy armor and stuff. And one thing it does do is like there's a couple of characters where it's like this is like one of them has like unnecessarily massive boobs. And I'm just like that just was really distracting and like that is their aesthetic. That's what they've kind of. But there's a couple of characters that are very kind of what's the word?
Not fan servicey.
I don't know. Like fan servicey, quite fan servicey with some of the characters. But I mean, it's Vanillaware. That's like Dragon's Crown was out the gate, like it was just crazy. It was just boobs and legs. Some of those characters, good god.
I've been reading Snow Crash, and there was a line in the last chapter I read where every person's avatar has one of 3 levels of boob size: impossible, improbable, impossible, ludicrous. Nothing else.
Ludicrous. Funny. Yeah. Right. And
Sounds
that
like
finishes me off my games for the week. Dave, what have you been up to?
I've been bouncing around between a whole bunch of demos, which has been fun. So I have been just kind of absorbing a whole bunch of vibes. Now, some of these have been some leftovers from the Steam Next Fest. There were a couple that I hadn't got to that I wanted to check out. And a lot of the rest are from this games showcase that I discovered called Computer Worlds, which is a collaboration between a group of indie developers and NoClip2, which is the secondary channel for NoClip, Danny O'Dwyer's sort of games documentary YouTube channel. And so they've basically got together to put out a bit of publicity for a whole bunch of really small-scale, weird, strange, wacky games. So they're mostly kind of pretty singular visions. And some of them were completely bizarre, which I'll get to shortly. The first couple were some of the ones I was really looking forward to from Steam Next Fest. The first of those was Esoteric Ebb, which seems to have been absolutely going off. Speaking of indie games that have been doing really well, so a lot of people are on the Esoteric Ebb train. It seems to have been reviewing really well and getting lots of attention, and it deserves it as far as I can tell from the demo. It's have you touched it, Len?
No, and I really want to because it's really
definitely should.
It's
This is 100% a Len game.
Yeah.
I think it's basically
man.
It's basically a Disco Elysium, like if you've ever played Disco Elysium, where it's an RPG in the truest sense of the word, where it's almost entirely conversational and like all your stats are based on sort of personality traits and all sorts of weird internal conversations going on with your various like thoughts and warring parts of your personality, etc. So this one very much does that too. You know, your various bits of your ego and things are kind of having chats about what's going on, and but in this case, it's basically Disco Elysium with a bunch of D&D added in. So you're like rolling skill checks on your various parts of your mental conversation and failing or succeeding them. So, you know, you might have something where your like knowledge or common sense fails and you'll just get a sense out of this like, yeah, she seems totally honest, we should trust her. And it's got failure above it. You're like,
Yeah, I'm into that.
But it's got a real nice sort of cel-shaded art style. Looks really cool. Isometric perspective where you're wandering around, starting by mysteriously falling into a river and being dragged up, either dead or close to it, and then trying to figure out what's going on and trying to do your job. So it's a lot more light-hearted than Disco Elysium was. You know, Disco Elysium being funny but pretty dark and fairly depressing.
Dense as well.
Whereas Esoteric Ebb is a lot funnier and much more like kind of taking part in an interesting D&D session, really. Some fun fantasy trappings and some really fun scenarios as well. I mean, sort of straight off the bat, I got involved in a dispute between essentially the local peace officer, an orc lady, and a group of basically communist dwarves who were having a demonstration in the local square. And so cop lady's like, hey, these guys are having their demonstration without a permit, and I'm the representative of the capitalist system here. So do you want to help me out and like move these communist dwarves on? I was like, okay. And she's like, they've got a permit, but it's out of date. Got them on a technicality basically. And I was like, oh, okay, go and talk to the dwarves. And so one of the interesting mechanics is that when you go up to a character, you can choose to inspect them, basically do like an investigation kind of visual check on them. And depending on how well you roll and how good your kind of skills are, you can get more information based on your observation of the character. And so I got a couple of levels of observation on this, the leader of the dwarf communists, which gave me this little hint that he was he had this kind of deep conflict between his noble parentage, his noble past, and the fact that he is, anti-nobility, basically. And so after sort of chatting to him a bit and him being like, well, no, it's just a technicality. We should be allowed to protest here. Like, this is not right. Eventually I was like, well, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Mummy and Daddy and their money, would you? and just kept making him madder and madder until he eventually punched me in the face. And then I was like, oh, that's super illegal, bro. You should leave. So I got them to leave by getting punched. So that was fun. And also really interesting musical choices as well. It's got these real kind of like ambient electronic musical tracks going on with like a really strong kind of introductory opening track. Really interesting choices all around. Like interesting art, interesting music that just weirdly fit the vibe extremely well somehow, even though it didn't initially seem like it ought to. And cool. Really great writing, like fantastic writing. Highly recommend. And I also had a little go at another one I was very curious about, Replaced, which is a sort of side-scrolling action game, I guess, sort of action platformer.
Sick. Yeah.
It looks really good. Very, very cool, kind of 2.5D pixel art look with really amazing lighting and this kind of cool cyberpunk post-apocalyptic vibe. Really nice to look at. From the small slice of game that I played in the demo, I'm not entirely sure how convinced I am about some of the gameplay elements. And again, it's hard to judge from something that short, but immediately there were a couple of things. Like there was basically a sort of stealth segment where you had to sneak between bits of cover and avoid a, searchlight moving back and forward slowly left to right, which felt like it was kind of a bit of a drag pacing wise. And then it sort of moved into some combat fairly after that. And the combat is a really interesting kind of Batman Arkham style beat 'em up approach where your enemies will kind of surround you and you kind of smack them one at a time. And they kind of pull in and out and go for a combination of sort of blockable attacks that you can counter and unblockable heavy hits that you need to dodge out of the way of. And it was sort of satisfying and crunchy and impactful, but also felt kind of weirdly quite a bit slower than what I was imagining it might be. It's sort of quite gun-fu-esque. You have a sort of melee weapon that you can occasionally, you sort of charge up a gunshot and then you can fire it to kind of take a dude out. I just kind of wanted it to flow a little bit more somehow, or a little bit more smoothly. It sort of felt quite chunk. And that's wanting it to be something it isn't, and it does feel like they've done a good job of making the combat what it is. But at least, again, and this is based on a tiny slice in the demo, so hopefully it gets deeper and more interesting throughout the game. But the combat in the demo was fairly one note. It was just kind of do the same thing over and over again, kind of hit, counter, hit, dodge, hit, counter. Even fighting this sort of big tank mini boss guy that you fight at one stage, it was really just, he just has one unblockable attack that he does over and over again, and so you just kind of
Right.
hit, dodge, hit, dodge, and yeah, I don't know. It felt like it would benefit from a little bit more depth and variety, and hopefully it does get a bit more of that later in the game. Visual design and vibes wise, pretty immaculate. Again, much like I mentioned with the absolutely gorgeous Goldman on our last episode, did suffer a little bit from some readability issues at times, I felt. Again, you've got some really cool environmental design, but sometimes I had a little bit of trouble seeing some of the places where I was supposed to go, where I was supposed to, jump on a crate and hop up somewhere or whatever. It wasn't necessarily immediately super obvious, just in terms of blending into the background and foreground elements. But yeah, nothing that was a major problem, and probably something you just acclimatize to. But yeah, sometimes felt a little bit hard to read. Also had a little crack at Lootbound, which was a pretty standard sort of turn-based roguelike adventure, where you're basically going into combat with enemies and kind of using a couple of abilities against them. You've got a sort of limited mana pool that determines which abilities you can use, and your pretty standard sort of simple branching pathway through the run, spattered with enemy encounters and sort of upgrade stop-offs and things like that, where you can kind of pick and choose what you're going to do, with a little bit of sort of dice rolling stuff built in. And the main gimmick with this one is that it uses inventory management as kind of the key activity that you're doing to optimize your character. So you pick up items when you fight enemies, and they all have sort of slightly funky shapes that you have to fit into your inventory grid, and they all give you benefits just by sticking them in your inventory. So you can pick up pieces of armor and weapons and things that add to your stats, and some of them have sort of auras that have synergies with the items surrounding them. So you're trying to kind of min-max your inventory to stack up various different abilities and give yourself stat bonuses, which is a really neat idea. I like that. So it's a little kind of inventory Tetris mechanic to make your maths happen. That being said, I did find some of the stats seemingly a little bit kind of hidden away. It felt weirdly hard to predict how much damage and things I was going to be doing sometimes. I sort of wanted some of the multipliers and things to just be a bit more front and center somehow, so I could get a better picture of what kind of damage I was actually doing and how. But it was a satisfying little loop, and I liked its different gimmick. That was quite neat.
Yeah, it looks good. Was it because of the randomized kind of damage? Is that why you weren't sure, or was it didn't show how much damage you could do?
It didn't seem to give you a particularly good prediction of how much you were going to do somehow or another. Like I would have liked a little bit more breakdown of this is what you're doing and why. Because I was a little bit, and again, it might have just been that I wasn't quite figuring out how to surface that, given that it was a very brief run with it. But yeah, I was sort of going, oh, what's the maths going on here, and how do I see it more so that I can make the right decisions, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Was there anything?
It looks quite cool.
That really, any combinations of items that really jumped out. You put this item next to this item, and now all of a sudden you're firing laser beams.
It did seem like there was some real good kind of multiplier type things going on, where it's like I had a piece of armor that had a synergy where if you put any helmets next to it, those helmets would gain a bunch of thorns, which does kickback damage to enemies and things like that.
Okay.
It was kind of like, okay, I need to arrange this so this armor's somewhere useful and it can touch as many kind of helmet armor pieces as possible or whatever, so that I'm maxing out my usage of it. So it seemed like there was room for some pretty cool interactions on that front down the track. And on a totally different note, and this is getting now into the Computer Worlds demos.
Yes.
Played this really cool little freeform kind of parkour time trial game called Vholume with an Vholume. This was just pure vibes. This was really cool. Basically, it's just kind of, the demo is just a loop track, really, that you're parkouring around. It's this kind of surreal concrete jungle with lots of kind of deep vertical alleyways that you're wall running along, and you're just bouncing from platform to platform, running along the walls, turning corners, just trying to run the loop as fast as possible and beat your record, basically. And it's just got really chill music, just super relaxing, and gets you into a real kind of flow state, just trying to get your lap times up and go faster and just hit those wall runs and jumps at exactly the right time. Just, yeah, it felt really good. Really nice to control.
Out of all of the absolutely crazy trailers in that Computer Worlds showcase, why did that one speak to you out of all of them?
I think I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for sort of parkour style games ever since like Mirror's Edge.
Yeah, that
did something to my brain, I think.
Fair enough.
I saw this one, I was like, man, this just looks really chilled out, and I really like its look. It's kind of super lonely, like you're the only person running through this kind of semi-dark space, like the light's kind of filtering in from the tops of the buildings. It's quite shadowy.
Yeah.
But it's not sinister or anything. It's just kind of pleasant lonely. It's like you're just kind of in this abandoned, almost Escher-esque kind of nonsensical cityscape, and you're just bouncing around it, just having a good time. It's real good.
It's fairly warm. It's not like there's no like blue filter. Like it's a kind of warm filter on the sort of. Well, not warm. It's just like it's like an off-white kind of color. Even though some of the lighting is kind of more on the warm side, it's not. Yeah, as I say, it's not blue lighting, so it doesn't seem as weird and sterile, I guess.
Yeah, it's an environment that's kind of bizarre, but doesn't feel threatening, even though you're kind of jumping over endless chasms. It's just kind of nice. Yeah.
That's pretty hypnotic, actually.
Very hypnotic. Yeah.
Watching it. Yeah, cool.
Cool. Yeah, that was good. I ended up doing quite a few runs in that because I was just really enjoying my time with it.
Cool.
And also played a kind of a Skyrim like called Queen's Domain. So basically a first-person fantasy RPG. Sort of like Skyrim if it was made in the Quake 1 or 2 era, really, is the look of it. Really kind of
I see.
Super polygonal, low-res textures and things. Quite a cool visual style. I did find it harnishingly difficult. So the kind of immediate combat that you get into sort of suffers a little bit from what a lot of first-person RPG, hand-to-hand combat does, where it's a little bit hard to gauge distance. Like, is my sword swing actually going to hit this thing in front of me, or am I slightly too far away? And just that because it's kind of melee combat, there's a lot of kiting things around so that you can smack them, but then they don't smack you. So it's kind of go in, whack something, and then kind of run backwards a lot while charging up your sword swing, because you can kind of either tap things lightly with a quick whack, or you can charge up your swing to do a heavy attack. And so there's a lot of just like charge up, run backwards, get in, whack, and then run backwards again, charge up, and sort of repeating that ad nauseum almost. Again, I suspect that combat probably evolves quite a lot later on, but in that early stages, it was a little bit like, I just feel like I'm kiting things backwards all the time. But some cool imaginative weird enemies, like rat ladybugs, and angry brain dragonflies, and plants with laser eyeballs. Yeah, some cool stuff going on. It'd be interesting to see what that one turns into. Again, pretty unique vision.
Did you get to the end of the demo?
Speaking of unique visions, No, I did not in that one. I had a couple of little cracks at it and was getting pretty badly beaten up by the rat ladybirds. So in the end, I was like, nah, I think I've probably seen what I need to see of this one for now. I've had enough kiting these rat ladybirds around.
The video that I've got here for Queen's Domain says, "What if FromSoft made a new indie Kingsfield?" So that's probably the difficulty level. Yeah.
I'll shout out a game if people are looking for a game like that. There's a game on Steam called Lunacid, which is a really good imagining of the Kingsfield genre.
Oh, okay, yeah, nice.
It's something
else.
Well,
speaking of unique visions. I sent you guys some little video clips of this one because I couldn't even describe it really. This is Ultimate Drummer.
Yeah.
I don't even really know how to talk about this, but I guess it's a 3D puzzle platformer / complete fever dream.
Fever dream. Here it is.
So, first you make your beautiful boy / girl, which is they're absolutely deformed character models. You can choose how shiny they are.
Brilliant.
And then you slide your drum kit around the landscape, just like making sick beats. So it's got basically a sequencer in it. You can put together your awesome beat, and then you use the scroll wheel on PC or to speed up or slow down the tempo, and that controls how fast you go, of course. So you slide around faster as you make your beats faster. You jump around and try to complete puzzles using aspects of your like certain parts of your instrument. Sometimes can like your hi-hat might control when something moves when you're standing next to it, stuff like that. So things kind of move on the beat. And I suspect that could lead to some quite interesting puzzles later on in the game where you're potentially creating different rhythms to make different things happen. And then you also get a weapon. You get an unlimited axis to throw, which of course just appears on a third arm that kind of sprouts out of your torso because you need both hands.
I see that now,
obviously. Yeah. So you need an axe arm as well. And you get to throw that at a bunch of giant bats and a sort of large angry baby man who kind of runs at you. Yeah, it's kind of magical.
It's just like
it's the strangest thing I have ever played. It was pretty endearing, I've got to say. Like, I kind of loved it.
I love there's like a little like in-game door, like digital audio workspace, like that's like
yeah,
that's
totally.
Yeah,
and you're mixing beats as you play as well. Is it?
Yeah. So you can just bring up the sequencer at any time and just like change up your beat and change your instrument. Like I unlocked a couple of different kits as I went, so I had my rock kit and my 808 and things like that. Yeah,
it's furious as.
Oh yeah! Oh my god! There's like things you can unlock as that's Yeah,
it is truly nutty, and one of those things that's like, I fully appreciate that this is a thing. This is great.
Is it custom engine? Is this Unreal 5 or a custom engine?
Not sure what it's built in actually, but it's custom, all right.
Yeah, custom concept.
Yeah, and the last one I played.
I actually will give this a go at some stage.
Yeah, definitely. It's worth a look for the experience, if nothing else. And the last one I tried was a little game called Loading, and game is not quite the right word because it's almost more like an anthology of games within a game. I believe the full release is set to be 3 separate stories, and I think they are kind of 3 completely different games from what I gather. I think by different developers.
Oh, okay.
And you start in like a little apartment, sort of concrete stairwell, go up into a little living space, and there's a computer and a little kind of Game Boy type handheld went up to the handheld, and it's sort of really nice little apartment environment. It's raining outside, and it's kind of cozy. Go up to the game console, and then you end up playing a little kind of 2D sort of slightly Pokemon-esque RPG, but it's just this little slice of life, get life game. Where you're playing as this guy, and it's his birthday, and no one's showing up, and so he's a bit down. He gets dropped off back home, and then realizes he needs to shit real bad. So then there's this whole sequence of like trying to navigate around your family who are just like wanting to talk to you, and you're just like, I need to shit. And then you finally get to the toilet, and like your granddad's on the toilet, and you're like, Granddad, I gotta poo. And he's like, give me some toilet paper.
Wow.
And then you actually have to make sure you wash your hands, because otherwise the game won't let you do anything else. It's like, you better not touch that while you've got dirty hands. So you go and wash your hands. And then it's like, oh no, washing your hands made your eczema flare up. so then you like go around with like eczema pain like flashing on the screen occasionally, and you have to go and find some lotion to rub on your hands so that you can calm your eczema down. And then you go and try and use the computer. I went to try and use the computer after that, and it's like, you can't use that. Your hands are all sticky from the lotion now.
What if? Oh man.
Yeah, just like a sort of weirdly endearing little slice of life thing. Quite funny, just kind of a bit bizarre, a little bit sad. Kind of weirdly complicated. It was a nice time. And again, like really kind of beautiful little pixel art graphics in this thing. And just cozy vibes overall, and again some surprisingly kind of surprisingly interesting writing and things going on. So I think that's going to be kind of a potentially a sort of interesting special one to watch. See how it pans out. Kind of weirdly poignant.
Yeah. It's also really hard to find because it's called loading.
Yes, it's a little bit non-SEO. Not well optimized there. It sort of included things like I went to sleep after waiting for my lotion to dry out, and then your sleep quality is controlled by a slot machine for some reason. And then you wake up and it's like 0 of your organs failed while you were asleep. I was like, okay. That seems ominous.
Yeah.
Wow. It sounds like
so that's
it's
been me.
tackling all sorts of wonderful
It's got some things. Yeah, what have you been playing, Nate?
So I did jump on to... Oh, actually, before I get into the actual games I've been playing, what stood out to me from that Computer Worlds showcase was, well, first of all, Ultimate Drummer, of course. It was like a punch in the face watching that. So I definitely need to go check that out. I really like the look of Goblin America.
Yes, I've downloaded that too. I haven't played it yet, but that looks wacky.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that you can rocket jump, but with any gun, like that kind of movement in a game is just awesome. It's kind of amazing that we haven't already seen something like this, where you can just shoot a gun to bounce around the place. Like that just looks super fun. So definitely want to try that out. Queen's Domain looks gorgeous. I really wanted to try Cerulean Angel, Fantasy Commander, which is kind of like, looks like a sort of auto battler or like Total War kind of game, but more of an auto battler, but like weird kind of. I don't quite know what the name for it. It's like 2D sprites, I guess. They're all sprites.
Yes, yeah, that's the one that looks a little
animations.
bit like the old school Total Wars, with the sort of 2D sprites on your 3D Battlefield type thing.
Yeah. Very simplistic backgrounds and just these animated sprites jumping around the place, battling each other. Looks super fun. And then what was the other one? All Living Things. The claymation. I've got a thing for claymation games. That
one looks very cool as well. That just looks like an artwork, right?
Yeah, it doesn't really tell you much about the gameplay itself, although it looks maybe like a wee like click around puzzler kind of, unlock the scene kind of thing. But all clay animation. It looks.
Oh, that's cool.
Looks very cool. And someone's put a lot of work into all of that clay animation.
Oh god, yeah.
So the computer world's just so much to explore there. I'm so glad you shared that with us.
Really interesting showcase,
yeah.
It just seems like a really neat idea and kind of very cool to see that a bunch of these devs have obviously just kind of pulled their resources a little bit and gone, let's get out there and get some attention for this stuff.
And I mean, and already from preparing for our first episode a couple of weeks ago, going through the Next Fest was really cool too, because that was something I had never really engaged with either. But now having checked out a whole bunch of demos, I think every year is going to be quite a big event now for me.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's more than one a year too. I think there might be.
Oh, right.
I have to check it, but I think that they might have sort of 2 a year or something like that. But yeah, it really goes to show there are a lot of fresh ideas out there. Like there's some really interesting stuff happening just like in people's basements in some cases.
Keep an eye on those little games because there's some really cool stuff.
It doesn't rely on super high end graphics or a fun game's a good game, If there's a good loop and there's a good mechanic or there's some interesting idea that it's trying to portray, you don't need it to be a AAA game.
Yeah, and in terms of, even just the sort of fidelity and looks, even some of the ones that are, objectively quite rough, still often have a real sense of artistry to them. There's some really special things put into how they look, even a real sense of craft, even if it's rough edged. In some cases, very deliberately rough edged.
Deliberate, it's still deliberate. 100%.
You can always slap DLSS 5 over it, and no, don't do that.
It's money, It's money.
On actual gameplay front. I jumped into the Division 2 10-year anniversary event, which was it's been quite some time since I've installed Division 2 and jumped in, so that was quite fun.
Nice.
To smash some of that out. There was a gun, the big Alejandro, which was a great gun in the first game, and they released it as part of the anniversary event. So got my hands on that and had a bit of a nostalgia trip back to the First Division.
Oh, awesome.
It was cool. And it was accompanied with a 5-time XP event, which was just so much loot. You're just drowning in it during this event.
Oh man, I should have jumped on. Damn it, I didn't realize that was actually happening.
Well, it's kind of good, but it's kind of bad too because you get so much crap. I kind of realized that I should just stop looking at all of the crap that gets dropped and only pick up
exotics.
Yeah, only actually pick up the exotics. It's got to that point.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. But I think otherwise they brought back some of the global events from the First Division. Global events are kind of like global modifiers to the game, which kind of amp your power up. And the first one just had cooler ones than the second one. So it was cool to see them and just have a wee go with them. But I think, I've very much done everything, seen mostly everything. So it was just a short foray back into it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I don't think I'll be coming back in a while. Well, not until Survivors releases anyway. But one really cool piece of information that came out as part of the anniversary event is that they're releasing Crossplay. So, and I've recently had my brother pick it up and another friend just pick it up as well, and they're both on PC.
Nice.
And so I'd purchased it on PC for like $4 or something ridiculous, like so much game for $4. But I picked up a version on PC, and I'd been slowly sort of playing through it in the hopes to maybe play with my brother and this other friend. But now that Crossplay is released, I can just bring my character that's got everything from the PlayStation on the PlayStation and just play with them. So that would be nice. And importantly, when Survivors comes out, because I was sort of getting ready for when Survivors lands to be able to play, with them. But
Survivors is my multiplayer. That's not just by yourself.
Yeah. It'll be multiplayer. That's that survival extraction.
Yeah, the extraction. Okay,
game mode.
Cool. Yeah.
That
makes sense.
Most definitely will be multiplayer. So, So and it'll be crossplay. So fantastic. We'll be coming back for that, and we'll definitely jam that with friends. And then I've actually got to give a big shout out to my brother as well, because he.
Yo, Gareth.
Yeah. He became completely infatuated with Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Yeah, he did.
Which super funny story, because he actually brought it on a whim, not knowing just how many accolades or that it had received from the Game Awards and all the various award showcases. So he just I think the way he described it was he was just looking for a game to play on Steam, and he saw this game Clair Obscur and was like, oh yeah, that looks pretty good, and he just brought it. And then absolutely just got sucked into it and loved it like many other people have around the world.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, shout out to him, because he brought me. He was so over the moon with it that he brought me a copy of it. He brought it on Steam for me, and then my computer couldn't run it, so I refunded it, and then he was kind enough to then buy it the second time for me on the PlayStation.
Oh, what a good bro.
Yeah.
Legend.
What a legend. So I've been really enjoying that, and just taking it slow. At the moment, I'm not. I want to play more of it, but I have to take it slow, just because I'm still recovering from concussion stuff. But I got up to the Gestural Village.
Oh yes, yeah.
Really love the Gestrals. I think
They're so fun.
Before then, I was kind of like in the early game. I could see there was going to be like an amazing story, and the way the characters talk to each other, and even show like little like facial quirks and stuff, in response to another character that's speaking to them, like the small little details and how people talk and react to each other. Like I could see they nailed that, and that was and then it was going to be a special game because of those character to character sort of interactions and relationships throughout the game. Yeah, from like that very first scene in Lumiere, that's what it's called, right? Yeah. Like you get that, you see how much care they've put into the actual characters being characters and how they talk with each other. And anyway, so I could see that, but I wasn't sold on the combat.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was probably because I'd only played like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and I was like, oh yeah, I see the combat here, and then fast forward a couple more hours, and they've just layered on more and more combat mechanics, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is cool now, with the parrying and I think weirdly it was like when they introduced the jumping mechanic during combat, and I was like, oh yeah, now I've got one more thing that I need to keep track of, and that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that kind of unlocked it for me, and I was like, okay, yeah, there's more to this combat than I originally, with my early review of the combat that I had given. But yeah, and I definitely see it's quite funny because my brother, who's played Clair Obscur but hasn't played, a lot of its inspirations, namely like Sekiro for the parrying and the jumping mechanics, but seeing someone enjoy all of those mechanics and then be like, hey, if you enjoyed that, maybe you would enjoy going back and playing some of the games that Clair Obscur has been inspired by, mechanics wise. And so now I'm trying to get my brother to play Sekiro. Yeah, and I'm not sure if many people actually realize that, but that was a big inspiration for the development team.
I remember hearing that.
Yeah, and it's just really interesting how it works in an RPG turn-based combat style, but that kind of just throwing that parry and that reaction-based combat into that established RPG combat system just really works and makes it so much more engaging.
So much more engaging. It's the key. Like one of you pay attention to like the soundtrack, like playing, you're like hitting the parry at the right time. You hear the wind up and stuff,
keys you into the
and
music
visual
track.
cues as well. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, it's masterful.
And then I hit the Gestural Village, and then I was like, okay, I love the Gestrals because it's so dumb. It's so dorky.
Like a Dragon,
and just exploring the village and finding all the different.
And I love Infinite Wealth.
Jokes that are hidden around the place.
Playing through that slowly, but like it was quite jarring because they kind of have like really simplified
and he's just like
equivalents to
fine.
That sort of not parry, but you can sort of do the sort of QBE.
They're kind of like the
sort of stuff where you
press a button
to mitigate damage,
the Moogles, right?
Sort of thing. But it just doesn't hit anywhere near as much as
like,
Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Like it's so
mostly
crunchy and like
dumb.
Tactile is a good way to describe it. Like, yeah, it's almost like a fighting game. Yeah, despite being turn-based.
One moment, I am having technical difficulties again.
Still there, mate?
Are you there, Nate?
Oh no.
We lose him.
Not again.
He's been raptured again. We rapture him again.
We can't rapture Nate every episode.
That's no. That's funny. Hopefully he comes back.
Still showing him his invoice, but oh no, there he goes.
Oh, he dropped. He dropped. We could have it'd be really fun if we had like an ongoing thing where he just raptures at the end
just
of his
randomly disappears every
section.
He's
back. Okay.
Hey.
Okay. Oh, sweet.
Phew.
Okay. All right.
I think the same thing that happened last week happened, so I think I've fixed it now.
Yeah, we were saying that like it'd be real funny if like just when you're sort of finishing your games played every week, you just rapture off the face of the earth. Just like just
I mean, I could make it a recurring thing.
Yeah.
I was just comparing the Gestrals to the Moogles. It's kind of like that race of like comic relief to
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah.
But I kind of like the Gestrels more because, well, the Moogles are cute and fluffy, but the Gestrels
I
are
like
like
Gestrels more too.
dumb and funny and
Yeah, they just want to fight.
yeah, that's right. They just sort of fight everything and
Just scrape
everyone
around.
and each other,
Yeah,
and
it's so good.
yeah. I love them. So really enjoyed that, but just taking it slow.
I'm glad.
So
Nice.
and the other thing was, we've had a bit of a, I've been sort of taking the kids on a bit of a late 90s, early 2000s RTS tour, with
cool.
Red Alert 2
Cool.
has been really popping off in my house lately.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, I introduced it as pretty much the first RTS that my kids have tried, and I was like, we'll give. I've got the whole Red Alert Command and Conquer catalog, and I was like, okay, which is the best to try? Probably not the first one, but the second one is pretty good. Like they start, they've got some really creative units, and there's all the super weapons, of course, which they love, dropping nukes and weather storms on bases. But yeah, having a lot of fun with just skirmishes and Red Alert 2, and also Age of Empires 2 as well.
Oh,
It's
nice.
been the other big one that we've been playing.
Oh, AoE 2, yeah.
Yeah.
AoE 3 is
very cool.
Yeah. It's sort of opening their eyes to the whole real-time strategy game genre.
I mean, the RTS genre has been largely dormant for a long time now, especially in the mainstream space. There hasn't been a lot going on. I mean, there have been a few attempts recently to kind of revive it, but nothing's really hit all that hard. So it's still hard to beat those OG kind of 90s RTSs, really. Have you got the remastered Command and Conquer trilogy?
Yes. It's not. So it was only Red Alert and Command and Conquer that were remastered.
Yes.
Unfortunately, not Red Alert 2, which would be amazing, but it still holds up. Like it still holds up.
Yeah, and I mean, I was thinking in terms of if you did want to do some CNC/Red Alert 1 with the kids, like the quality of life changes to the controls and stuff in that remaster are pretty good, just in terms of it behaving a bit more like a normal modern RTS to control, even though you can still, I still prefer it in its old, original pixely version versus the kind of quasi HD artwork that they put on top of it. But just being able to play that original game, nicely on a modern system with sort of slightly updated controls to make it a bit friendlier is a pretty good experience.
Yeah. And there's something about walking into the lounge and just hearing one of the music tracks from, like the Hell March or something, and you're just like, oh yeah,
hell yes.
Here we go. So good. But and funnily enough, one of the difficulties I've found with Age of Empires 2 is, like weirdly, the AI is broken in a lot of the older versions of it, and so especially in multiplayer skirmishes, the AI just seems to stop working. So I've been trying to figure out.
Is it like tied to CPU speeds or something, like clock speeds or something? Is there something?
Maybe it is. Ooh. Yeah. And actually, that was another interesting learning, was that these games don't. So they're all using the old TCP/IP network protocols that I discovered Windows 11 no longer supports. So you can't land them using the
that's so lame.
versions you get on Steam. So, but thankfully, there's been there's communities that have released patches and launchers that fix all of the networking protocols under the hood, so you can get LAN working again. But it is a bit of a journey to go back and figure all that out again. And I think, I didn't realize, but there's actually a Age of Empires 2 like remaster or remake version. It came out kind of recently as well. So I am waiting to get my hands on a copy of that so that we can play with a fixed AI.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, that'd be handy.
Have the kids found the Shelby Cobra cheat code yet?
No, they haven't actually. Was it Big Daddy?
I think, yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
yeah. Big Daddy. Yeah. Good times though. But next steps will be, I think, Red Alert 3, and then onto Generals, and probably check out Age of Empires 3 as well.
Yes.
AoE 3, that was
nice.
bread and butter for the LAN parties for the internet cafe.
Yeah.
The net caf, we'd do the old AoE 3.
Yeah.
We were going through a period of time where we'd like go to town, get all drunk, and then like we'd leave town and go play Age of Empires 3, Call of Duty, Jesus, AoE 3, and it was.
Just go and do some heavy strategic thinking after getting absolutely
I
steamed.
know, right? Yeah.
Massive
massive hit of steam. Yeah. It was pretty funny. We'd always get smashed by Steve.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was the master of strategy games.
He just had to see. He got the samurais up, and once you get the cavalry samurai, I don't know, but you just get a million horses, and then Chris it would be him and Chris versus like 4 of us, and they'd always win.
Nate, do I see here that you've been playing a little bit of Gloomhaven?
Oh yes. Are you a Gloomhaven enjoyer?
Oh, I am very much a Gloomhaven enjoyer, yes.
Yeah, nice. Digital or tabletop?
Analog for me. Pretty much just finished somewhere between 2 and 3 year campaign. Wow. We kind of worked our way through the whole thing slowly, sort of once a fortnight. Yeah. And man, what a game.
Yeah.
So Gloomhaven being a board game that's kind of mirroring a little bit of the particularly dungeon crawling aspect of a TTRPG like D&D, but kind of condensed into a big box board game where you're taking on the roles of different characters, and it's got a really neat combat system where you're playing against the game itself. So, there's a bunch of sort of card-based AI-controlled enemies, if you like, that are fighting against you. And as a team of 4, you are essentially playing combat via 2-sided cards that control your movement and combat abilities, and also your initiative order, so how fast you go versus your allies and the enemies on the board. So it's a really kind of streamlined, interesting, and surprisingly deep kind of combat system where you just get a lot of really meaningful choices, but it's still all contained within a card system, so it's not crazy complicated. Really, really kind of cool approach. And of course, it's a legacy style game as well. So it's you have a big, long, continuous campaign where you're playing somewhere in the region of 50 to 100 different scenarios, which are a couple of hours long each, and kind of running through a big, long campaign with a party of players.
That's amazing. You got through it. That's a great effort.
Yeah.
We're considering moving on to Frosthaven at some stage potentially, but in the meantime, we're kind of happy having got through our big campaign. We kind of kept going till we exhausted most of the scenarios in the game, really. So
did you unlock all the
try all these up and
classes?
Yes, yeah. So we I think we ended up. We even did a couple of classes twice in the end, because we kind of leveled through everything. And as we were going through the end game, we were just like, we'll go back and play some of the classes that the others of us had previously played, that we were interested in, sort of thing. So. But man, in terms of sort of an example of like the good bits of video game mechanic design kind of and tabletop RPG design kind of seeping into board games, like, man, that thing is just unprecedented.
I've been trying to bling it out so that all of the, or sort of some of the enemy management and health and status management is a bit easier to manage and see on the board. So one of my friends printed some health tracker dials that you can put the little standees in, and then you can like rotate them to keep track of the health, and
sweet.
you can hang little status icons off them so you can know which ones are stunned and which are poisoned or whatever.
Yeah, cool.
Just to try and, I think, just keep us like engaged in what's happening in the dungeon rather than having to manage the stuff off to the side with the enemies.
Totally. There's quite a lot of overhead in that game, to be fair.
Yeah.
we kind of didn't mind that because being just sort of 4 adults who'd been at it for a while, we were just like, we'll just handle these crunchy bits, but we would still occasionally kind of forget stuff. Like, what are we doing? We forgot to bring down the elements this turn or whatever.
Right. We've house ruled it a fair bit too to actually make it, I think, just a little bit more enjoyable for the kids, and not as crunchy as it is. A little bit more lenient as to death. And
and it responds so well to house ruling things in a way as well. Like there's enough flexibility in its kind of rule set that you can really nudge things a little bit one way or the other to suit the people you're playing with so well, I reckon.
Yep. We're kind of making it leaning more towards it being closer to D&D than a board game. So making it so that they can role play their characters a bit more without the danger of actually just dying and the whole scenario going down the sink.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We sort of took for granted, kind of, because we did take the tabletop some version
in lockdowns, didn't we?
Yeah. It was lockdown, and it was just so much. It was just because it just did it for you.
Yeah,
it was pretty sweet.
There's something special about having all the bits of cardboard spread out on a table somehow.
Yeah,
I like that.
Again,
that's pretty
nice
sweet.
Tactility to it, and makes it a nice kind of social activity. It's good.
Yeah. I want to ask. It's so hard to talk about because I want to ask who your favorite class was, but I don't want to know anything about the class.
Yes, can't give too many spoilers.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite class would have been the lightning bolt.
Okay.
The berserker.
Oh,
which,
cool.
Was a lot of fun because it again, without revealing too much, it sort of treats health as a resource to be used and treading that line and all the risks and rewards that come with that.
Okay.
It's really fun.
Sounds cool.
So it's a real razor's edge balancing act of a character. It's a good time.
Yeah, awesome. And are all the classes kind of like that? Like they bring a different way of playing the game?
Yeah, definitely. And I think they went even further with that in Frosthaven and things like that. Right. But yeah, they essentially all have. I would say all the characters have one main build really in Gloomhaven, and this kind of secondary, sometimes tertiary kind of alternative builds. But generally speaking, there's one track that is going to be most useful in most situations, sort of thing. Like there's often a few cards that are a bit more niche and things like that. But generally speaking, each character has its own sort of fairly strong gimmick and feel, with a couple of sort of side options.
Yeah, cool.
It really captures the It does each of its separate elements. It does really well. It does like the sort of card management, the dungeon crawling, and the kind of the bigger world map and legacy gameplay. It's kind of unique, isn't it? In that sort of sense, there's not really a lot like it. Or maybe there is. There's so many board games these days, but I I can't think of too much like that.
I would say it was kind of a breakout of its type, really. When it released, it was kind of the only one of those.
The one.
I think since there have been a few attempts to do similar things with varying degrees of success, but yeah, it really set the standard and the template for like, oh, we can kind of make a dungeon crawling adventure in a board game box.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's impressive that to actually fit that amount of content in that box too. It's a massive box, to be fair, but still, it's still a lot of like, literally hundreds of, or 50 to 100 sessions sort of worth.
Absolutely. I mean, in terms of if you go back to the good old video game metric of kind of dollars per hour of entertainment, it's pretty hard to beat a Gloomhaven campaign because my goodness, that is a lot of hundreds of hours out of. I mean, it's an expensive board game, don't get me wrong, but yeah, value for money is way up there. And on the box full of stuff front, I believe the sequel Frosthaven somewhat famously. The game designer brought on a submarine engineer to try and help fit everything into the box.
That's epic. That's epic, man.
A guy who's real good at fitting things into tight spaces for underwater warfare. and that dude was still like, yeah, it's pretty tight.
Yeah. It's like,
it's like this is going to be a challenge, fellas. Yeah. Awesome. Shall we do Fantasy Critic?
No,
is there anything else that you wanted to go through? No, that's it. Okay, sweet. All right, well, we'll go through the Fantasy Critic notes for this week. We've got some changes in the standings. The current standings are in first place is Dave S., the other Dave. He's on 51 points after 4 releases.
He's gone pretty hard on the Nintendo releases, and it's going well for him.
He's gone well. It's gone well. I think Pokopia.
Oh, yes.
It was a big hit.
That was a good choice.
Yeah, real good choice. Second term, he's killing it. 44 points, 44.69 points, 3 releases, including the big one for this week, which was Monster Hunter Stories 3, Twisted Reflection, on 85%, which is 15 points.
That game seems to be going gangbusters. Like, I'd never even heard of the Stories series, but apparently they're pretty good. People are pretty into them.
It's like a turn-based kind of RPG version, and you summon the Pokemon to fight with you, as opposed to just hunting them and killing them and use their eyeballs as a sword.
Did you just call them Pokemon?
So,
pretty much.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're basically Pokemon.
Pretty close.
Yeah, it's pretty much Pokemon. Yeah, they're Pokemon. That's all. Everything's a different kind. Everything's a Pokemon. Everything's a Pokemon, dude. I've dropped down to third place with my 4 releases. On 39 points. Dave is on in fourth at 15 points, which is still really good because there's only 1 release, so that was an 85.
Still sitting on my 1. I'm waiting for the reviews to come out on Ghost of Yote Legends, the multiplayer add-on, which sounds like it's pretty good, but it just hasn't got enough reviews to show up on the Fantasy Critic lists yet, but fingers crossed there.
Yeah. And you'll be waiting for the Crimson Desert reviews that'll be coming out.
I've got a lot pinned on Crimson Desert. I'm hoping.
I heard there wasn't any early copies, so I don't know if there'll be any reviews.
Yes, it's probably going to take a bit for the reviews to start rolling in for that one.
Yeah, which is I found that was curious. I was very curious. Like, really, no early copies, no review copies. That is strange. It's usually a bit of a red flag in the gaming world. And Nate's on in 5th place with no points, but no releases. So plenty of time.
Oh, do you know what's going to be really exciting with Crimson Desert is so you've got Crimson Desert, Dave? Yeah. So, and you're 15 points above me. So I took Crimson Desert as a counterpick, which is probably not a good. I actually kind of wanted to drop it because it looks so good. But then it got to the point where I can no longer drop it, so I'm stuck with my life choices.
Locked in. We're locked in now.
But if it does tank, then I might actually jump up above you.
Yeah, if it tanks, we could equalize.
Yeah, we could, because you would get deducted the points and I would go up the same amount of points, right?
It would have to tank
Yeah.
pretty hard. But
Aggressively tank,
yeah,
though.
it would be an aggressive
Like
tank.
50.
At this point,
Feel like 55 on
that
Metacritic
would be
on
real
Open Critic.
bad. It would have to be like
Oh, no.
unable to play due to really bad optimization or something.
Massive bugs.
Yeah, you're buggy as.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, that's a bit of excitement for that release.
It's definitely exciting. Like, I'm actually just kind of excited to see how that game comes out as well, to be fair. Like, it seems really ambitious. So I'm curious, if nothing else.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be an interesting Friday. It comes on Friday, I believe.
It's pretty soon, yeah.
I think it's Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch this space.
So we'll see.
So
We'll
actually,
see.
potentially on release day of this podcast, effectively.
Yes, you guys. By the time you guys are listening to this, it will be out.
might
So
be there,
yeah,
yeah.
let us know. Let us know on the socials and the comments.
Matt may have
what you
overtaken
think.
me by the time
He may have. Yeah, may have.
I don't want to. I want
Any
it to
delays?
be good. I do want it to be good. It looks,
Yeah.
it looks amazing. You just want it to work.
I think some people are going to be a bit confused as to, or like disappointed, because I think some people are expecting Skyrim or which
Or
is
Dragon's
and it's
Dogma,
not
right?
Story based.
much more Breath of the
Sort of-
Wild by the sounds of
Or
it.
Dragon's Dogma. Yeah, more Breath of the
More
Wild.
sort of systems based kind of
Systems
playground
based,
type
yeah.
thing. Yeah. I think
Sandbox. I think
our,
Sandbox RPG.
I think our biggest delay is still probably the Gen 10 Pokemon game, right? That I think other day
Yeah,
had.
that's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
think
a biggie
I think so,
to be delaying into next year, given that it was already kind of behind the normal cadence, right? And now it's even further behind.
Yeah, I think so. In terms of the next releases coming up, there's Crimson Desert on next or into this week, and then apparently Life is Strange Reunion is coming out next week or the week after.
Oh, man,
I've heard nothing about it. So I'm really nervous. I'm really nervous about that. So usually there'd be something. Although they kind of just like drop those games, just release them. So yeah,
That'll have
We'll see.
the return of the main characters. Do you think?
yes, I think so. It's actually both characters. It's actually Chloe and
Surely that
the
will.
main and Max.
Surely that'll be
Chloe and
good.
Max. Yeah. Hopefully, the last one, Double Exposure, wasn't that well received. Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, but I could not pick that as a pick, and I think that was for one of my special picks anyway. It was like an unannounced game, so to even get points on an unannounced game is pretty sweet. Like that's pretty money, so that's good. I'll take that. And that wraps us up for this week's episode of the Crossplay Cooperative. You can join us right here every fortnight for video game chat and musings. In the meantime, please like, sub, share, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Give us a review, all the usual stuff. It helps us get discovered. Edible. The Crossplay Cooperative was hosted by Len, Nate, and Dave, with music and editing done by Len. The Crossplay Cooperative is a podcast by From Silence Productions. No 3D artists' job prospects were harmed in the recording of this podcast. That's us. Another episode.
Nice work,
The
lads.
bank.